Hey, welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's January 21st, 2024, and that is Nanako the Cat's back haunches. Give it up for Nanako the Cat's back haunches. What'd you find there, though, friend? Do you like... Oh, sorry. Do you like the table there? We're all looking at you. She's very cute. That's for sure. How's everyone doing? Feels like it's been like 2 weeks since the last stream. It hasn't. It's just been a busy weekend. Please, okay, hold on. Nana, be good. There's some expensive camera equipment. And she'll be on her way. Woo, Nanako the Cat! Woo! Hopefully everyone is doing okay. We have a lot of news to catch up on. It's a CBI raid. I didn't know that this... honestly, I was this old today when I learned that maybe the Circuit Breaker Invitational was a reference to this champ card, which is definitely one of the champ cards ever designed. Dujen, how's it going? Congratulations on your top placement. How you doing? Kato, I'm here early. Great to see you play a game on the weekend, Kato. Hopefully you well. Frank, hey, how's it going? How's your job hunt stuff? Hopefully it's all right. I know you dropped in to share some like pretty substantial news, and I was like really plugged in playing a game against John. I was like trying to talk to you, but also trying not to lose the game. Hopefully you're doing well. Izzy, hey stream, you know I've been doing better. Yes. Things are pretty rough out there, let's be honest. It's not good. I don't know really what to say about it. We're gonna try and keep doing our thing the way that we're doing our thing, but hopefully things are been okay. Finally an internal stream. Hype. Axu, how's it going? Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. There's probably gonna be some internal stuff in the future, who knows. Hey Sunny D, how's it going? Howdy folks. Axu called it. Safer, how you doing? Woo, Nanako. Radish, how's it going? Hey Sophie. Yeah, woo. Hey Andre. Hey David. Howdy Nanako. The OG Net Cat. PMK, how you doing? Expensive cat toy equipment. She's been pretty good. She hasn't like tried to interact with any of the stuff that are particularly expensive. Like if it's a camera on a tripod, she won't try and push it over, which is kind of nice. That's what worries me. We've been spending a lot of time on this setup back here, and I've realized for Netrunner stuff, there's a chance the camera doesn't fit on the top bar because you just don't see a wide enough shot because it doesn't film full frame. I've been like really struggling with technical issues. I'm pretty sure as of next week, we might be able to get our first Netrunner tabletop stream in, but I'll keep you posted. We might do a tech tangent at some point because there's a chance somebody on the internet who's watching this can help me, but who knows? Gailhar, how you doing? Happy, it's a Tuesday. CBI raid is great CI tech card. Not really, honestly. Actually, maybe in Eternal it is. Back in my day, it wasn't that good against it wasn't even that good against CI because they can set up the top of their deck. CBI raid says run HQ. The corporation loses all their cards, but they get to put it on top of the deck in their choice. And the thing is, like, CBI was a combo deck that played accelerated diagnostics and stuff like that. So letting them set up the top 3 cards of their deck was a really bad thing. Let alone the other ones that were also running the Jinteki one that said like reveal the top 3, play one of them or something. That was a very, very, very bad thing to do to CI. As much as CI is the corporation that would have like 12 cards in hand. So, wild. Sympathy and solidarity is a yeah. Yeah. Played against Beeblum and played 2 burners on turn 1. One hand of 4, which amounted to a CBI raid. That's true. Burner is just like such a better CBI raid, but like the bar was pretty low. Really not doing well mentally and emotionally after yesterday, to be honest. Yeah, Spark. I don't even live in that country, and things are like pretty bad over on this side, let me tell you. So I can't even imagine. Again, condolences. I don't know much to say. Gara, how's it going? Any thoughts on Elevation? Yeah, definitely. I think we're going to start this stream by doing some talking over there's been some pretty big articles, and we had a massive tournament, 100+ players, I believe, on the weekend. We did some casting for it. So we're going to go through all that stuff in news before we get to gameplay. If you're tuning in and you're looking for the gameplay stamp, if you're watching the YouTube VOD, it's probably a bit further, but we're probably going to be talking for the first hour. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So new setup. Yeah, Kato, it's going okay. Actually, Kato, you might be somebody who can help me out, but The short of the long is I have a 4K capture card I just picked up, and this camera outputs 4K, right? It has an HDMI output. Fantastic. The capture card I have can take 4K 60, 4K 30, and then everything below that. Fantastic. That's why we got it. Now, this camera, if it films in 4K 30, it films in 4K 30. But if it films in 4K 60, it crops in a bit. It doesn't use the full frame, which is the This is in Lumix S5i, so S5 Mark II. So the full frame thing is like, it's a thing it does, right? However, when I'm in 4K 30, my HDMI output from the camera read into my computer is just 1080. It will not output a 4K output from the way I've set it up, and I can't get it to work. I've struggled for a long time. Shout out to Neon Static. Eric's been trying to help me. Very, very helpful. We can't figure it out. However, I go to 4K 60, which crops the frame a fair bit, then I get a 4K signal into my capture card. But otherwise, my capture card's only reading a 1080 signal, even though technically the output should be 4K 30. I've messed with all the HDMI output settings that say do scale it, don't scale it. Can't figure it out at all, which is annoying because I wish it was just 4K 30 so I'd have more room, and then the camera doesn't have to be as high from the table because it crops in significantly. It's annoying. Cool, love it. How's it going? Shout outs on the weekend. I had a great run. How you doing? Antoine as well. How you doing? I don't know if you're coming on Tuesday. I wish I was coming out on this Tuesday for locals. I have a session, a Green Mill session booked at 7. I probably should not make Tuesday an option anymore. Unfortunately, I'll be not making it. Where's the one where you access half the cards? That's information sifting. That one was actually genuinely a very good card against CI. Whether corporations will make it a 50-50, they lose the game, or whether they'll make it like you just take 4 points no matter what you do. So the old days of power shutdown jacks and accelerated diagnostics. Yeah, Flip. I don't know when it happened, but I'm pretty sure they eroded power shutdown. So you can power shut down more than the most expensive card, which the text doesn't say that. I feel like they did that at some point. I'm a person on the internet who might be able to help. Thanks, Eric. Hey, Owen. Good morning, Andre. I've been some time. Hey, great mustache. Thank you. Life's been busy. Working graveyard, no time during the waking hours. Hopefully you're doing okay, Owen. For some people working at night, like suits them. Hopefully it's not been too rough for you. I've been doing okay. Thank you for the mustache comment. I just shaved my beard, so the mustache looks better. We've been good. We've been like busy trying to make all this video stuff work out. It's been a lot of money. I have everything coming in as of this weekend where the lights are coming in, and then I should have everything. Shout out to Neon Static who sent me a C920, like a shitty webcam. So we're going to have 2 shitty webcams for the 2-player cams. Hugely appreciated. Once that comes in, everything should just be about good to go. But it's been a lot of time and effort, so I love talking about Netrunner droids. How you doing? Congratulations on your, I think you won a thing. I think they're set on the side they want to see TK or CO or something. I know your name shouted up here. Yeah, first at Omaha CTK. Very excited for Elevation here. Local meta is playing NSG only minus system update with standard ban list, and that creates some interesting missing pieces. Yeah, yo, that's really weird. I think missing pieces is a really important thing to keep in mind, because I think Elevation is meant to be like a missing pieces solver to some extent, right? Like Startup is running into issues classically where there's cards that exist in the standard format that are like those pressure valves, the release valves. So things like pinhole threading and steel skin scarring and stone chip chart room, like ways to interact on certain angles. You can't keep printing more of them because there's enough of them, maybe even too many in standard, but in Startup, unfortunately, they just don't exist in that cross section. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see, and we saw in the article, and we'll see in a second when we open the article, the Elevation is going to have some of those fundamental pieces, and of course it is. This sure sounds familiar. I'm not sure to what, is he? Tron, how's it going, by the way? Congratulations as well on the weekend. May want to try different cables, different quality formats. I tried 2 different cables, Thanos. How's it going, by the way? None of them did it. They were both HDMI 2. Like, they clearly accept it. I could try a 3rd cable, but I guess it doesn't cost me much if I have the 3rd cable. But I've tried 2 different cables and it's not doing it. So, pretty bad. Power shutdown got eroded and then eroded again depending on N6 philosophy. Really? Power shutdown did get eroded, but then got uneroded by energy. Jeff, how's it going? Okay, so power shutdown was just vanilla power shutdown. Jeff, how you doing? Okay, sick. Just fire it the way you want. I'm pretty sure accelerated diagnostics is banned in Eternal right now. Thing to consider looking into an open gate recording mode on your camera. I don't know what those words mean. Do you know what's really annoying? No, I do have open gate. Yeah, so the S5i has open gate, right? That was actually like a really good feature of it. The problem is when you do in 1080/60, it specifically isn't open gate, and that's what crops in. Because otherwise, if you take out the 1080 image, it's like this weird resolution where you technically have black bars on the side, because it basically shoots a 1080, but then has a bit wider on the top and bottom so that you can crop in for like socials, for like long socials, tall socials, like TikTok socials. So I do have OpenGate. The problem is as soon as you go to 1080-60, it's no longer OpenGate, and that's when I get the cropping in, and that's when I realize my mount is not high enough to get 2 playmats, no matter which orientation you get into, which is frustrating. Work's been really good. No Netrunner games, sadly. My game time has been mostly playing ISS Vanguard. Great legacy board game, by the way, if you haven't seen it. This is gonna maybe betray some of my anti-space tendencies, but when I hear the name of a board game and it's named after what I'm assuming to be a spaceship, I'm like checked out emotionally. There is no way I'll care about it. There is no way I'll care about a spaceship. Oh, it has a spaceship. I've seen it. I think did not the nice people at No Pun Included do a review of this? I think they did. Color looked nice. Looks colorful. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Maybe I would like this. I really don't like space. I don't know what it is. It's like an anti-theme for me. Hopefully you're having a good time with it. Self-applaud, how is CBI? Honestly, mixed. I think we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to start with talking about elevation. My CBI experience was honestly kind of mixed, and there's a lot to talk about it because it's a weird format. The meta's really strange. I don't think I like the meta like at all. Obviously, we had a ban list recently, and this is our second major tournament since then, but it's like kind of all over the place. So my first instinct is to see if there's a way to force the capture card to attempt to ingest a 4K if the settings are all appropriate on the camera end, but it could be a numbers thing. Yeah, Kato, I did. And you can either like, it'll tell you I'm getting 1080 in, and then you'd be like, like you can type in a manual resolution. It's an AverMedia capture card. And it still wasn't doing anything, but a lot he rating. Jonald, how's it going? Congratulations on the weekend. Excited for you playing the deck list on Thursday. This Junkie Bongs, it's like, you know, we played a list like this before. We'll play one game of it and be on our way. Junkie Bonk's been like repping Thule for a long time. So at least as like a Thule loyalist. Marvel Snap getting shut down because of the TikTok ban was very interesting. Yeah, for those who don't know. So TikTok was shut down for a couple days, right? Because of America. In Canada, we don't experience this. But technically the ByteEase, I don't know the name, but basically the publishers or the people who have TikTok also, for some reason, they have like one major mobile game, which is Marvel Snap. So Marvel Snap was inaccessible for about, I think, a day and a half in America. From my understanding is that the Marvel Snap people didn't know this was going to happen. Like they were not told about this. They're claiming that they weren't told about this until it happened. And they're suddenly like, wait, you can't play our game because of the TikTok ban. Yeah, from my understanding, Marvel Snap Second Dinner is trying to be self-published or find a publisher in America. They're technically published by the second biggest Chinese gaming company, but I don't think their mobile efforts on that front are going well. So I'm surprised that they're still associated with them. They might try and get independence or like a North American publisher, but yeah, they went down for a bit. I think they're back up at this point, but we didn't experience it in Canada, but I read about it for sure. NetEase, thank you. No, it's not NetEase. It is NetEase, but there's also ByteDance, I think, or something. Because it's not Tencent, it's the other one, which is NetEase, and NetEase owns ByteDance, I want to say, and then ByteDance publishes them. That write-up is poetry. I haven't read it yet. You could probably suss out the issue if you want to DM me the model of the camera and capture card you have. Kato, thank you. I will. Let me write that down to remember. I really appreciate that. I've been struggling a long time on it. Message Kato. Cool. NetEase owns a controlling stake in ByteDance. Yeah. Yo, Junkie Bonk, how's it going? Congratulations on the deck list of the week. Thank you. Yes, those are the words I thought they were. Thank you. OpenGate just means 6K recording. Now how can you hate space? I just don't like it. There's not a lot going out there. It's just like open waters, but less boring because there's not even an up and down. Sometimes having an up and down is like kind of really nice. Have you considered getting proxies and playmats that are 10% smaller? It's actually a pretty interesting idea. I get frustrated with this when you pick up a board game and it's like, well, this board game could have just been 10% smaller and then it could have been like an easier thing to own. Sometimes that do be like that. I don't think Netrunner gets better by being 10% smaller, but that's very funny. It's a spaceship. It's mainly about planet explorations though. Yeah, no, I'm done. Ellen, I've checked out. I know where it's going. It's going on up there where it's just dark and there's planets and I do not care about it. Then you talk about Calico and Cats? What do you mean there, Jen? You live in Montreal, home of McGill University, and are anti-space. Quelle horreur. I graduated from McGill. I don't feel like McGill had a big space thing. Like, I don't feel like they indoctrinated us to care about space. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, there's space no matter where you go. Reguline, you ByteDance, thank you. I was noting that the cut was quite a lot weird and interesting decks. Yeah, the cut is messed up. The cut is really, really gross. I'm going to use the word gross, and that's like not neutral. Like there is an underlining tone to it, but specifically like North America, the cut is disgusting. It is. If that was what the meta looked like at a GNK, I would not go. Now, obviously, this is not a GNK. This is people taking it more seriously. But like the cut, we'll talk about this when it comes up in like 20 minutes, maybe. It's gross. It's gross. Thank you, Seamster. Are you commenting Top Cut too? Donald, I'm not. I don't believe so. On the basis that it starts at like 3:30 a.m. in the morning. There's a chance, I'd have to check the schedule. I think it's already scheduled, but there's a chance it would be possible to do later rounds. The thing is, like, not only is the bedroom attached to this and there's no door, so good luck everyone else who lives there, but I also live in an apartment building. So if I'm like popping off at like 4 in the morning, my neighbors are going to be aware of that. And that's probably not a nice way to go. So I usually don't stream before 7 or 8 in the morning on a weekend. Even then, that feels like pushing it sometimes. I want to be able to use my Lumix for streaming too, so I'm going to see if I can make mine do 4K capture tonight. Now that I don't have a stream, I'll report my findings. Thank you. Let me know how it goes, Eric. There's a chance your capture card will work better. I like the AverMedia capture cards a fair bit. NetEase controls and controlling stake in ByteDance. Yes. Yes, thank you. Marvel Snap is published by Newverse. Yes, that's the one I'm missing, which is a subsidiary of ByteDance. Start the ocean space rant again. No, I'm sorry. It came up. He hates Earth. He doesn't like planets. This is a good one, but this one is like top notch. All the other planets can really F off. All I want to be is a space traveler? What is it, like born too late to explore the Earth? Born too soon to control space instead? Posting my Thule deck list. I don't know that my deck is a little gross. Tron, your deck is really gross, and I'm excited to play it next week. But it is frustrating, I'm pretty sure. If space is not your thing board game wise, what is it then? Like, what am I into board games? Wait until I do my Daybreak rant play, where I play Daybreak on Board Game Arena to show you how the game is actually... How's that game showing up on everyone's best of the year list? Daybreak is fundamentally not a good game. I need to play it on stream so I can show you my point. And I want to be very clear, I've been hate playing Daybreak. That's not a nice term, but like this year, I have like 15 games of Daybreak on Board Game Arena solo. They each take about 8 to 9 minutes, which is kind of an issue with Daybreak. Themes and board games, I don't know. If it's not space, I'm usually good. It's like that simple. McGill's the home of one of the most decorated aerospace law programs? What? In North America, most of the people from space law at the UN went to McGill. I have no idea. I did not hang out with them at parties. I was with like the comp sci and the media studies kids. We did not talk about space a lot. Toronto, are you waking up at 2 a.m.? It's slightly better for you because I think you're a couple hours to the west. But are you playing? The thing is, like, so the top 5 from every round on the weekend go to play, or they're invited to play the CBI, which starts next weekend at 2:30 in the morning. I want to be very clear, 2:30 in the morning, like, that's fine. I think last year it was a time zone that did not make sense for European players, and so this year it doesn't make sense for a lot of North American players. All I want to say there is we don't actually know who's going to be in the top cut. There's a chance that people are going to fold and not make it, either because of the time zoning or just because the next weekend doesn't work. And so we might actually not know who the top 16 are until we get a confirmation. And if that's the case, I believe it rolls down. So it might not be the 1st to 5th players in North America. It could be like 1st, 2nd, 4th, 7th, 8th, potentially. So stay tuned. We'll find out. Any thoughts on Arkham Drowned City? I'm really excited to see more about it. The spoilers this last week have been really good. Really, really good. Oh, wait, I should shout out this one, actually. Because Netrunner players might get a kick out of this. Especially if you recognize this person without having a name associated with it. Hold on. This is Derp K. They do a compilation. Does anybody recognize this dude? Does anybody know who this guy is? You ever seen this face before? It's a really good depiction, too. This card's also just like cracked. I have no doubt this card's gonna get tabooed or something. Do you recognize this guy? This guy showed up on a Netrunner card. Earth is pretty terrible, to be honest. Other planets don't have the fascists on them. Yeah, that's true, but there's a lot of good stuff going on Earth. Know that TikTok business operation is banned in Canada, even if the app is not banned? Oh, I didn't know that. But not allowed by most companies and for all government devices. Sad you're not a space enjoyer. You'll have to miss out the Game of the Year 2024 ARCs. I'll do ARCs, but ARCs is like not about exploring space. It's just like a board with planets on it. It's weird. I don't know. ARCs is fine. I haven't played ARCs. It seems fine. Imagine waking up to somebody in the next apartment over losing at about a sick multi-axis run that needs to find the 2 points. But ARCs is an amazing game. They got a lot of space. Sarazaraki. That was like 90% correct. Apologies. Yeah, ARCs is probably going to stay. Is there only one hater of Daybreak? It's Andre. If there's no haters of Daybreak, on dead. V3, how are you doing? My favorite thing for board games is smarmy capitalism like Food Chain Magnet and Horseless Carriage. I feel like you just said my favorite thing for board games is Splotter games, which like that's also a fine answer. I'd never played a full game of Food Chain Magnet, nor ever Horseless. Yeah, Congress Lab. This is Jeremy Swearin. This is the architect guy. So for those who don't know, Jeremy Swearin is a very good card player and won like 3 or 4 maybe world championships at different games that Fantasy Flight Games put on. So if you played back in the day, the reason Drafter exists modernly is because we had a card Architect that existed back in the day. And it's very similar, except Architect was busted. It was one of the best cards in HB for a really, really long time. But the idea is that Drafter is a tuned down version of Architect, and you actually see Jeremy Swearin's face on it. Jeremy Swearin, I believe, won the world championship for, I want to say whatever the Warhammer game was, probably Game of Thrones, probably Star Wars, a couple of those games, yeah. But yeah, Jeremy Swearin was a really big deal, and since then he works at Fantasy Flight Games, and he seems to be like their numbers guy. Like they have the creative side of dev, and then it's Jeremy Swearin running the numbers, which is wild because this card has like ridiculous implications in terms of numbers. The numbers on this cracked, but that's a very charming portrayal of Swearin. Very, very good. Eric, are you on the playtest credits of Horseless Carriage? Is this because of the train games? You're like, that's a Horseless Carriage? There's no way I'm dropping? Okay, that's good to hear. Just let it roll to 12. I believe everyone has confirmed attendance, no roll dance. Oh, sick, John. That's very, very good. An Arkham Tangent and a Tuesday stream, unheard of. Lucille, how you doing? I'm going to SplotterCon again this year, so yeah, you caught me. Get out, there's a SplotterCon? You say this as if Drafter isn't busted. Drafter is really, really good. But the problem with Architect is that it did more. And it would like, it's harder to face check lose to a Drafter. But Architect, firstly, not being trashable, this was legitimately a very big upside because Ice Destruction was a common play pattern for a long time from 2012 onward. This came out in 2014. I want to say, yeah, 2014. But the Corp, looking at the top 5 cards, you may install one of those. You have to say what number it was, but like that is a busted subroutine. It protects the top of R&D as well. So you could put this on R&D. You can't run through it. And then you may install a card from Archives RHQ, which is just really good. It didn't recur operations, right? Like it didn't add cards to hand, which you can add operations. But this protected R&D so well, you can't win the game growing through this, and it adds cards to the table from the top of the deck, and it gives you like the Anansi scry of the top 5. You can't reorder them, very importantly, but there's a lot of board states where it felt like if you face checked into an Architect and it fired, you lost the game. There's only like a bit of hyperbole, but it's a very, very, very messed up face check. Very, very good. The greatest dexterity game ever designed, Horseless Carriage. It's my biggest nerd cred. Yo, get out. That's huge. I think Cthulhu is being featured in a set. Does this signal the end of Arkham support soon? No, not at all, Jara. And they were very clear about that. I think Arkham Horror is doing really well for Fantasy Flight Games, as well as things like Marvel Champions. I think they've had a bit of a lull for the last year because of issues, many different issues. But what we've seen and expected for releases and content, I think we're going to see more. They have been clear, though, that this is going to be the beginning of a shakeup of release structures, is my imagination. I'm pretty sure come this year and early next year, we're going to see it where something drastic happens to Arkham. My guess is that the investigator boxes and the campaign boxes will be separated, which makes more sense. So they have a more steady flow of both products for people to enjoy, but also income for whatever, companies do. That's my guess, but they're very clear this is not the end. Arkham is doing really well for them, and I'd be very, very surprised if it is. Marvel Champions also, I'm assuming we're going to see twice as many products this year, which I'm a big Marvel Champions fan. The kind of people I can get to play Antiquity. You say, hey, Kyle. You don't even want to play Antiquity. Yo, Terrence, how you doing? It's in Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah, just outside. Okay, sick. That's really, really cool. I want to play Antiquity. I just know nobody in Torsag wants to, or more specifically, wants to manage pollution. RP Board Game Core. Architect Estelle Moon Gaming? Yeah, it's really good. People play this in Near Earth Hub too, because they just installed the new server and you drew a card on the runner's turn. Technically, Drafter does that. A few weeks ago, we played Bus and forced everyone to listen to Vroom Vroom by Charlie XCX. Oh, man. Okay. Let's catch up on some news. There's some really big news this last week. Oh, from Patrick Sklar? Whoa, Patrick Sklar from the Metropole Grid. Welcome to Elevation. So this is our first big article that is telling us what Dawn actually is, and we have to call it a different name. This concept art is by Joshua Chia. We'll look into this in a second because Joshua Chia has a really good art station, and this art is fantastic. I wish we had it at a higher resolution to dive into because it's hard to tell the scale of things. But from my understanding, these are like full-on buildings. You see these like white boxes? Like those are buildings, like structures. Like these have 13 floors in them, which is like you see a crane and you think like that's as big as a crane is, but this looks massive. This is a 2-lane road, but this actually looks really big for a 2-lane road. This can't be a 2-lane road. This is like a 4-lane road, like a highway. But things are really, really big. The scale of this is monstrous. Narratives are. Arkham Horror LCG slowed down its release schedule for a bit because they were releasing all the older content and new distribution model. Yes, and the pandemic has kind of caught up with everybody where like distributing things slowed down massively. They've had a lot of problems. All right. We don't have to stop calling it dawn. I think we probably will keep calling it dawn. Go to the image on the NSG blog page with the thumbnail rather than the image here. You're saying if I go to here? Like this one? This does look good. Oh, fuck. Sick. Lucille, Secret Tech. Super cool. Yeah, like these look like 13-story buildings with scaffolding and stuff. Like the scale of this is monstrous. These art is really good. Like this is a full-on arcology, like what you would see on Piranha. Like this sort of glass structure here. You see the structure here? This glass structure with the curved thing to it. Ooh, can I control N? Like that reminds me of the shape, if I'm not mistaken, of a Piranha Agroplex or Piranha in general, right? Like the Agroplexes had that same sort of glass side and like that curved top. This one's a bit different because it's kind of twisted, but it looks like this. Like these are massive structures on their own, and these kind of look like them, which is really cool. I don't know whether that came through because of you know, the art team being like, this is what it should look like, but that's great. Obviously, things are very green, and that makes sense because we're in Borneo, which is an island. Oh, these are like hoppers too, but these look like big hoppers. So scale is like really, really hard to tell, but this is massive. This is really, really cool. Well, check out the rest of it. These buildings here on the bottom, they look like they're probably the mega city that's off of this mountain, because here we are building a space elevator. Could be a 2-lane road built to accommodate massive construction vehicles both ways. Yeah, it does look like a 2-lane road, actually. You're right. I thought it would be mini roads, but you actually even see like directional arrows. So it looks like on Borneo, they drive on the left. That looks like a left forward arrow. I wonder if that's accurate. If this could be a backyard and this is structure for ants, it also could just be a model on someone's desk. Who knows? But really nice. Piranha's food. Yeah, Piranha made food. So let's read through this together. Dawn breaks, get it, over Kota Kalimantan. I do not have a pronunciation guide, so you're going to have to bear with me for the first, like, turns out 3 months. From a sacred mountaintop in central Borneo stretches what will be the world's last and greatest space elevator, the Makota Langit. Surrounding it is Earth's newest megacity, Kota Kalimantan. I'm assuming that's what the city is down here, which grew rapidly to serve the space elevator's construction and anticipate its operation. Kali sprawls across central Borneo, ignoring borders and absorbing cities in its path. So this is Borneo, and Borneo, really interesting, is, well, it's in Southeast Asia. It is an island. It's, I think, the 3rd biggest island in the world. Apparently, Australia is not an island. It's a continental landmass. What the fuck? But it is an island. It technically has 3 different countries on it. So it has, I believe, all of, I want to say Bahrain. Is that correct? Or Brunei? Sorry, Brunei is all in it. Bahrain is in the Middle East. So it has all of Brunei, and then it has Indonesia and Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken. So it's divided by 3 different folks. And very notably too, you see this line here, this is 0, it goes straight through the equator. And that's actually incredibly important because you're building a space elevator. And from my understanding, you want to build a space elevator on the highest point, just because then there's slightly less building to be done. And the Earth is not a particular perfect circle. I believe the equator is slightly wider. It's more of, what do they call it, an ovaloid or something like that. So building a space elevator on the equator is technically cost efficient because there's just less reach, because you're closer to wherever you're going, space in general, space. So that makes a lot of sense. So you generally will see, just like we saw for the first space elevator in Sansan area, or not Sansan, excuse me, in Ecuador, it will be on the equator. Australia surely is an island. People are capping hard on if it's not, it's small enough to be an island. Australia is actually really, really quite big. I think people underestimate how big Australia is. It's massive. It's like almost the size of mainland America. Mega projects, my beloved. Your Kota Kalimantan pronunciation was correct enough. I'll take it. Langit is langit without making the hard G sound between the ang and the I. Lucille, thank you. Langit. Like that? You also have to do it in the equator due to the rotation of the Earth. It won't stand straight and will probably break. Oh, that makes a lot of sense too. If the thing is going like that, that is like the optimum, like you throw the yo-yo out and go across your head. That's sick. Okay, so it makes a lot of sense. We've seen that before. That's great. The elevator is a project of the loosely allied Oceanic and Southeast Asian nations, Ocean, has poured its resources into what was hoped to be a space elevator free of megacorporation control and able to completely surpass Earth's 2 other elevators with its scale and technological superiority. Firstly, this is not the elevator agency, but the fact that it's Oceanic Southeast Asian Nations spells ocean is kind of funny to me in some way. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but a lot of the other stuff that deals with the space elevators was from a company called C, or a division called C, which was SEA, the Space Elevator Agency. So we see Earth Station C headquarters, and then back in the day, we also had C Source, which if you look at the original art from the original core set, makes it very clear that these are the people who are protecting the beanstalk, the elevator. I do not know if sea and ocean were meant to be that similar, but it is kind of funny to me, as much as they're different. People love an acronym that spells something. Damn right they do. I just think it's very funny that they're both big waters. Very cool. So apparently this is the 3rd elevator. Apparently the first one was the beanstalk, and then that broke at some point during the Ashes cycle, which I have no recollection of, it turns out. And then they built the 2nd one. I do not know where the 2nd one is. Maybe they built it right next to the 1st one. I probably have to read the Ashes lore. I can't believe I don't know the Ashes lore at this point. Why is the beanstalk curving like that on the sea source art? Cause space is weird like that, y'all. Cause technically the beanstalk would, like, if the Earth is rotating like that, I think it... Perspective, man. Flat Earth. It's in Africa. For real. Izzy, I had no idea. 2nd one was Katara. Wait, what? What? Like, not in the Katara cycle. The Katara elevator? What are y'all talking about? The Katara cycle had did not have a space elevator in it. Did NSG say that there was a space elevator in Katara? Are the other 2 elevators are the beanstalk in New Angeles and the other one in Kenya? Apparently, yeah. Wait, Ginger Grid's a space elevator? The heck? The site of the world's 2nd beanstalk, or I'll die trying. It looks like they tried. Whoa, I do not know any of this lore. That is a bad spot to be in. The SSL was starting to build one. I do not remember any of this. That is cool. But where was the Uprising Downfall beanstalk from NSG era? Why do you think Jinja makes such tall servers? I just don't understand how they're going to space stacking 3 rhymes on top of the thimble rig. It doesn't make any sense. That's cool. Sick. But the dream of corporate abstention is fading. It is only a Jinteki developed biomaterial, micelle, that is able to sustain the impossible scale of the project of Hasbiroid's biotic labor is delivered. Hold on, I'll read that sentence better. Okay, so it is only a Jinteki developed biomaterial, micelle, that is able to sustain the impossible scale of the project. And Hasbiroid biotic labor is delivered from orbit to cheaply do the jobs no ordinary human can accomplish. From the central ganglion of the space elevator, NBN spreads its cables like nerves, surveilling the thoughts of each of Kolakaminch's millions of citizens. Wayland, meanwhile, is graciously funding the ocean government in exchange for absorbing only their most vestigial agencies, such as those in charge of disaster relief. There's a lot going on. Firstly, micelle, not real. That's fine. The name comes up a lot referring to fungus, like mycelium, the root structure of a fungus. I think micelle is like a singular of that. I did not, out of all the sciences in school, I just never did bio because you never had to do it. I did chem and physics. Don't know what I'm talking about. But apparently this is some sort of structure. Whether this is here also because we're going to get a mushroomy theme. Very noteworthy. Patrick Scar does like mushrooms a heck of a lot, but very interesting. The vegetative body of fungus, mycelium. Very, very cool. Notably, the last time that we talked about what you make a space elevator out of, which is currently a problem, is we got into something called buckyweave in FFG lore. Buckyweave is a sort of like carbon nanofiber, like tubes that you put together. And it was created by someone named Maromati. It pushed the limits of physics by engineering the first buckyweave structure, a 1,000-foot long wall. And buckyweave is what the beanstalk is made of. And apparently Jinteki has another thing that seems to be somewhat techno-organic to some extent. But we're going to see what the technology is here. So Jinteki is doing something that sounds mushroomy, but they're building up to space, which is great. Yeah, like graphene nanotubes. Yeah, it's like a graphite thing. So cool that they're building with Jinteki's biomaterial. Yeah, very interesting. Now, Hasbiroid has biotic labors delivered from orbit to cheaply do the jobs no ordinary human can accomplish. This doesn't really tell us that much, besides HB is doing efficiency stuff with biroids, which is kind of what they do all the time. But these other ones get interesting. From the central ganglion of the space elevator, NBN spreads its cables like nerves, surveilling the thoughts. That is noteworthy. Like, NBN's understanding what you're thinking is not something we've incredibly tackled. Whether these are meant to be hints of what the identities do, I'm assuming we're going to get an identity for every major corp faction. That would be wild if we didn't. Having the sort of like thought sees. We've had NBN cards before, like Harsh Chandra, that allow you to see the opponent's hand. It's Harish Chandra, right? Yeah. But the idea of NBN seeing what you're up to and what you're thinking is something that showed up but has never really been capitalized on before. So this is actually a very different turn for NBN when it's coming to understanding thoughts. That's kind of cool. Maybe psychographics is sort of that, but not exactly it. Interesting. And then finally, Wayland is graciously funding the ocean governments in exchange for absorbing most vestigial agencies, such as those in charge of disaster relief. Yeah, that's dark and messed up. Whether we're going to see NGO front type reprints, I don't know, but interesting. NBN Jiteki collaboration. I don't know. It seems like everyone's like doing their own thing in the area in whatever self-serves them. Classically, Jinteki and HB almost never work together. The sentences kind of sounds like they are, but there's usually in direct conflict because clones and biroids are competing for the same sort of like market space of cheap labor in classically through the universe of Netrunner. And then NBN and Wayland do their own thing usually. Do the 4 megacorps ever mess with each other? Oh, all the time. They kill each other. They do horrible things. They do politically motivated things. So in the Katara cycle, or not Katara cycle, in the Mumbet cycle, there was this whole ongoing narrative about fighting for the rights of clones and biroids. So for instance, clones are not people. This was an HB push from my understanding. So wait, let me read this. When it's going to Gen Ed, clones are not people. No, this is a Jinteki push, right? So Jinteki is pushing for the idea that clones should not be, looked at as people so that they can be, used in the workforce. And all the other like suffrage-based things that came across this whole cycle, a lot of them were motivated by the other corporations. So it was up to Jinteki to make the HB biroids have rights. Clone suffrage movement, yeah. That's the other one, right? This is an HB card where like HB card gets powerful by pushing for rights for clones. Just because if clones are not seen as people that you can force into the workforce, then biroids see more sales. So this stuff happens a fair bit. Notably though, yeah, this is where it started. And I think this goes back to the original board game that Android comes from, is that this is an HB deck. You cannot include Jinteki cards. These two are meant to be the most diametrically opposed. The two major factions that will never work with one another as much as you can put cards in the same deck. College buddy of mine was trying to get real life Bucky Weave to work. Postdocs and nano engineering get up to cool stuff. Oh, sick. It's actually made by the kombucha mushroom people. Technically, you could eat the new beanstalk if it's made out of mushrooms. Yeah, technically. Well, it depends on the mushrooms. A lot of mushrooms you shouldn't eat. So Ocean has promised its citizens that the Makoto Langet will lift them into the future, but the cost of that future has been high. Entire peoples have been displaced, including those who once called the site of the space elevator home. State funding for vital infrastructure has been diverted to the space elevator and its attendant megacity, leaving communities destitute. Workers flock to Kalimantan for a chance at a better life and social climbing, only to end up eking out an existence in the undercity. That narrative is probably what you expect, so I think they go on in the article to say that this is not a narrative set, this is a locational based set, which is more often what we're used to in Netrunner. I think the last two have largely been narrative sets from NSG, so like the Liberation Cycle and Borealis to some extent I would say is a narrative set, where it's focusing on a story and it technically has a beginning, a middle, and the end, as much as I think we mostly had a beginning and an end when it came to Liberation. I'm a big fan of the location based stuff where it's like here's an location, here the issues are going on, we get to explore it. I'm interested for those. I think I like those sets a fair bit better. The cities and villages of Borneo may have been eclipsed by the high rise of Kota Kalimantan, but they still exist. They fill in the gaps between agro-ecologies, occupying the lowest levels of the structures that were built around them, or on top of them. Ocean's neglect of these places is as much as a curse as a boon. People have made homes here and businesses and communities, despite, and sometimes thanks to, a lack of help from local governments. The sun's rays still fall on the Undercity eventually. The line between Undercity and Upper City constantly shifts in the battle between old and new. Having a view of the space elevator from your penthouse windows cements you in the highest echelons of society. The echelon is an icebreaker, so that makes sense. But only until some enterprising new development puts you back in the shadows. The Upper City's residents view the Undercity as a nest of criminals. In their minds, thieves, murderers, and vigilantes dominate the streets and tunnels. Of course, Undercity denizens don't look on the Upper City any more favorably. Everyone knows that the Upper City is home to its shared criminals. The only difference is the scale of which they operate. After all, the world changed, crime did not. Crime gets a lot of shout out. So the idea is that there's undercities, upper cities, there's like class strife. It's kind of what you'd expect there to be in this neoliberal future. Don't think about the present. Well, now they're focusing a fair bit on crime. Now, obviously, one of our factions is called criminals, and they're very clear there's going to be criminal support. Bringing back organized crime to crime is good. I know I've been a big proponent of bringing crime back to the criminal faction, which has largely felt like it's been missing for a long time, let alone playable criminal cards. But this focus seems like it might be more than just criminal. like there's a chance that we're going to see other factions like a Shaper that is technically a criminal. I feel like this focus is very, very strong when it seems like these paragraphs entirely ignore what Anarchs and Shapers are up to. So it kind of suggests that crime is going to be an under theme that we're going to see across all factions or most of the runner factions. It does not seem just like a criminal blur. It seems like one of our, like at least one of our runners is going to be from Upper City, I'm assuming, and maybe even the criminal. It seems like the Upper City crime is still happening as much as a lot of people expect Undercity crime to be the obviously like looked at thing, as we saw kind of in the Sansan cycle. But that's fascinating as well. So, NBN uses plays as all sides. Warlock, how's it going? To be honest, I'm still not sure which side NBN was 100% on. Like classically? Jaro, how's it going? In the latest set, we saw some major corp conflict, Jinteki and HB tacitly working together to keep the Automata past and Wayland whipping up opposition to fund a coup. Yeah, I'm not sure the Wayland story of it, but you're right. That's a really good shout out. Is that like the entirety of that Automata initiative was to depower the clones and Byroads who are living as people in Brazil. World change crime to not is a tagline for the Android board game. Oh wait, for real? That's a tagline for Android? Hold on, Android board game. Is that actually? The world changed crime did not is the tagline from the original Android board game. That is so funny. The world changed crime did not. Oh, that's kind of sick. I think the tagline or the first sentence in Android Netrunner that FFG put out is like, it is the future. And it's just such a good sentence. I've never played this game. I don't think it's meant to be particularly good, but this board game existed before Netrunner existed. And then they just took this world and then they took, you know, the engine of 1996 CCG and they put it together. So this has Byroid and clones, and this is the beginning. This is much more noir than even Android Netrunner was, but this is meant to be like, you know, there's Nisei clones and there's a murder mystery, and I don't know if there's secret roles or not, but this game is really hard to find. It's $150. This is American as well. So yikes. I wonder how much of a relic that is. Would you get Thomas Haas being Batman as a criminal runner? Imagine this set was exclusively criminal cards and no one would see it coming. Yeah, I would be surprised. It's the kind of crime that feels very crimey. Was this something like the world changed humanity or not? No, yeah, that's specifically it. I have a copy of the board game. It's complicated. Welcome to Elevation. So Elevation is the name of the new set. We'll probably still eventually call it Dawn every once in a while. This is the set icon. So you get to see a big old mountain. It looks like the cave underneath it's probably the Undercity. I'm guessing that this image is very specifically like this for a reason. So it seems like the Undercity lives underneath this, and we're going to be exploring both of these zones. So up there, Megacity, and Tower underneath where the folks live. This tunnel is very clear. Also, it turns out, again, I'd only learned this couple weeks ago, but I was pretty convinced that the set icon from Downfall Uprising from Ashes was Fencer Fueno. It's also a space elevator. Are these set symbols going to look similar? Yeah, kind of similar, but also I don't think it matters that much. But it's clear that there's a lot of thought put into this. The set symbol of Elevation inspired by both the Makoda Langit and the surrounding city of Kole Kalimantan, depicting a towering structure rising over the natural mountains of the area. This is from written by Banknote. David Valerian 32 Preto has created another eye-catching and evocative design to help establish each card spot in the world of Netrunner and of course help sort collections. All right, we get some marketing talk. Elevation, the product previously codenamed Dawn, is Null Signal Games' new non-rotating expansion compatible with Netrunner. As a product, it serves as the next step for a new player should take after experiencing System Gateway, while simultaneously refreshing the modern card pool for all levels of play. Elevation is about raising the stakes, get it, and reaching new heights, get it, all set against the backdrop of a space elevator under construction in the megacity that surrounds it. Great theme. While previous expansions such as the Liberation Cycle delivered one strong narrative, Elevation instead provides a setting in which players will take their own tales. Kota Kalimantan has dozens of stories waiting to be discovered, but it offers no conclusions. I said this before, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the narrative sets as much as like the locational sets. I feel like they each have their own strengths. Like I think the narratives and the characters, there's a lot you can get out of them. But I also think like I want to go to a place and explore a place and feel like I'm in that place. I think that's maybe one of my criticism from the Liberation Cycle is like the whole cycle takes place on in Brazil. I don't know what Brazil looks like. Like, I don't think we got a good look at like what Brazilian culture looks like, what the spaces look like. I don't know what Rio looks like. I just don't think that showed up because a lot more of art and time was focused on characters for better, for worse. For some people that does it, but I want to see the space. I felt strange leaving Brazil and not knowing what Brazil looked like. There are definitely some examples where you can see Brazil. It's just, I don't know. When we went to the Mumbad cycle back in FFG Dies, we saw a lot of what Mumbad looked like, and it was about the space and the people going on in there. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes. Soon, I hope to be able to speak about the efforts we put into world building and how we hope to use the setting in the future far beyond Elevation. That's fascinating. Until then, I leave you all with a few elements of Elevation's narrative, some things to speculate on until preview season begin in earnest. Elevation will include these bullet points. They are always so interesting. Sometimes they're totally like banal. Sometimes they tell you a lot. I think a lot of times, like I've been in mixed camps. Sometimes the bullet points are so sleepy. Sometimes they're super important. So we're gonna read through all these bullet points. I'll give you like my thoughts on how interesting I think each of these bullet points are. They're not all made equally, but there's a lot you can learn from this. Welcome to Puns. Eris, how's it going? In the set symbol, I noticed that the elevator is built atop the undercity and then there's a crack in the foundation. Yes, maybe that's a crack, or maybe that's meant to be like a tunnel or a way. Like Seeger, how they say, God, Tom, let me try that again. Very eager to see how they replace Doof. I have no doubt they will. Very much a product of the time. The late 2000s had a lot of big board games, which were really just 3 board games and a trench coat, which is very much what Android was. Give them an S to F grade for excitement. Okay. But to be fair, stories like, I don't think conveying stories via cards is very difficult, but to be fair, stories like can exist. Look, every card tells a story. Whether it's that sort of like, you know, macro story about like the passing or the attempted passing of the Tom initiative, like you can tell a story of that scope on a single card. You just miss a lot and it's more difficult. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a secret volcano. Okay, so let's start here. A cycle of runner cards that host cards. We started to see card hosting a fair bit. We got not a cycle, nearly a cycle of cards that hosted cards, unless you think of Trojans as cards that host cards, which is not exactly correct. But we saw, again, Compilation, which is sick. We saw the other one, the Anarch one that purges and has text on it. Could this be Daemons? Yeah, it doesn't say host corp cards, so maybe it's Daemons. Chest Breakers. They don't host cards, though. That's the problem. Helianthra, thank you, Antoine. Daddy, how's it going, by the way? Chest Breakers are hosted cards. They don't host cards. They're really usually careful about the wording here. So this can mean largely anything. I think hosting cards is interesting. I think people like Daemons. I think people like the design of Compilation. I like the idea of stealing things as the criminal. So I think it's cool. The supplier will be back. Yeah, it could be like supplier-ish. It could be like Paolo's Cafe, Personal Bark Shop. Ren, how you doing? Street Peddler. There's a lot of ways to make cards host cards. When I first read this, I thought they meant like Compilation and Helianthra because those were like notably different designs for hosting cards. But this is totally fine and interesting. It doesn't give us a lot about the set. I would say it's a solid A or B point. Totally fine. An ice inspired by the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this is interesting because this is a bit of a shout out to older ice designs for those who've been a bit plugged in for a long time. So there's a lot of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. There's like 1,000, maybe 1,200 of them. And classically, you can find the list. I think on the island of Borneo, it's hard to search here because we have to search by country and Borneo is not a country. But if we ignorantly search Borneo as a country, can we do that? We might come down with some options. I think there's a couple national parks. Mind you, there's 1,200 different World Heritage Sites from UNESCO. So you can look into this. I don't know if we can just search Borneo. 3 properties. There is 2 national parks and a Heritage National Park Caves complex. This might be actually one of the type caves that we saw on the set icon. I don't know. Is the Undercity work in a cave? Who knows? But the reason why this comes up is classically we've had usually Wayland ice that was named after the great ancient, what are they called? Ancient wonders of the world. Some of them are more obviously named than others. So like Colossus is the Rhodes Colossus. You probably figure that one out. Hordum, I believe, is a Latin word for garden. And so all these advanceable ice, this is meant to be like the garden at, what's the name of the garden? Babylon? Is Babylonian garden, if I'm not mistaken. We had Pharos, which is the lighthouse of, or at Alexandria. I'm not sure what the terminology for that is. And then we had the Mouseless, which is the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. So there's this idea of Wayland having ice themed after the 7 wonders. We only have 4 of them, maybe 5. So we'll see out what the next ones are, whether there's gonna be Wayland cards, but it's very easy. There's a lot of UNESCO sites and there's a whole bunch in Borneo, assuming it'll be a Borneo card. We have no idea. I find this interesting, but not important to me, but interesting. I'm not gonna do the rating system, but you can look into this. There's a big chance that you can actually guess which heritage site this is, I imagine. 6 new run events. This one is super sleepy to me. How many run events do you think are in System Gateway? Is 6 a big number? Is it a small number? How many run events are in System Gateway? 3, it turns out. How many run events were in just Rebellion Without Rehearsal? It's like 5 or 6. I don't know what I'm meant to do with this. This information doesn't help me at all. 6 run events is on average what you would expect in 80 cards, it turns out. There was about 6 run events in the last 60 cards. So technically this is less runs per average than in Rebellion Without Rehearsal. UNESCO Ice is very guessable. Oh, there's Patrick, the author. How's it going? Patrick, I gotta go through the bullet points. Oh, a cat. Yeah, a cat is another one for sure. A cat is has the pyramids on it. Yeah, very good shout out. That's the one I forgot. Only 5 after they banned the best one though. Miso not you. Which one do you think they're gonna ban? Yeah, a cat is the pyramids of Giza. The art is very, very obvious. I think more than some of the other ones. I'm not sure what the name Akhet means though. I definitely looked it up. Akhet is an Egyptian hieroglyph that represents the sun rising over a mountain. Oh, very cool. Translates to horizon or the place in the sky where the sun rises. Very, very cool. Dirty Laundry Maker's Eye legwork. Oh, in system update, there is a couple. So if we do ESU21 T run, it's like 5 or 6. S run? Yeah, Retrieval Run, Inside Job, Legwork, Maker's Eye, Dirty Laundry. These are very good run events. Almost all of these like are good enough cards on their own merit. Legwork opens up a design space that maybe Compilation is holding. Maker's Eye technically has a design space for Shaper, and then Dirty Laundry is just neutrally very good and playable. And Retrieval Run is its own weird card that still sees play modernly today. Tier list my narrative bullet points while I'm watching. My pleasure. I don't know what to do with this. Like, this doesn't do anything to me. This is like a low tier bullet point. It's like, there turns out there's run events in the set. Great. A way to install agendas face up. This is actually really important. Face up agenda support almost entirely rotates with the rotation. Firstly, we lose like Oaktown Renovation. We lose CityWorks Project. We lose SSO. So just about everything in the game in standard that cares about face up agendas, which classically is a Wayland thing, is rotating. Now that probably means, I don't know if that means that Identity cares about face up agendas, but like you making face up agendas installs matter. And this is a way to, so it doesn't seem like it's a face up agenda. It's a way to install maybe any agenda face up. I have now a bit more time to get on my custom set. My Wayland that I'm building does care about face up agendas, about being public. And I think I have the text on the ability box currently I'm working on that it allows you to install any agenda face up, but you have some benefit of having face up agendas and other cards interact with face up agendas. I think face up agendas is just really cool. It's very Wayland. It's very public. It's very blasé. I like this. That's an interesting thing. This actually makes people, I'd say this is a good bullet point. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, public agendas are just a favorite. They're just a really, really fun thing to interact with. They haven't been very popular. Notably, also, they beat Hermes, which is really fun. Hermes can't bounce face-up agendas, so like, thumbs up to that. I would love to see a Wayland ID that does that. So my current Wayland ID that I'm working on, the wording of this is probably not perfect, but it says you may install agendas face-up. Fantastic. And then the current wording I'm looking at is, I think once per turn to make this fair, once per turn when the runner breaches HQ, you can take 1 card from HQ and set it aside. After the access finishes, return that card to HQ. You can only do that ability if you have a face-up agenda installed. So it's meant to be this mixture of public and private. I think it seems really fun and has a fair bit of counterplay. I don't know if it's going to be Glacier, Poisonous, Toxic, but I love the idea of being public facing on the remote servers to be private facing in the central servers. Hide your stuff while being very clear that you're putting some 3-1 face up on the table and don't care. I'm going to try and finish the set. We have a bit more work to do, but I'm working on it. A runner ID who puts the organized crime back into criminal. Yeah. Now I'm scared about this. I've been a big proponent about criminals not feeling like the sort of like heist-based crime. Their cards not feeling illegal. We've, you know, a lot of the last criminal cards from the last set didn't really land in most formats from my understanding. So this is really great. The problem here is organized crime. I'm not sure what this focuses on. Organized crime to me feels like Seb. Like when it comes to an organization, I'm worried about installing a lot of like resources and doing that sort of like building criminal, which I'm also interested to see a criminal that doesn't run that much. So far, every criminal we've seen be successful is a run-based criminal for a while. So that's kind of cool. But organized crime, I'm not sure if that's meant to make us focus on like mafia. But if you ask me, is Geist an organized criminal? Like technically, because Geist is a gun runner, but Geist does not feel like organized crime, if you know what I mean. So I don't know why the focus on organized crime is, whether again, we're going to see some sort of like mafioso, somebody who's, you know, part of org crime. Org crime is technically a subtype in Netrunner, turns out. But it also makes me think like connection-based synergy, like what is it, the one where Caddy Jones breaks through a window? And Michael McGlenn 2077. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Ren, right? I love public agendas because they often make a really exciting last turn. Hey, but how's it going, by the way? We both know that if you don't steal this, I will win. Yes. Isn't Geist part of the Muertos? Yes, Geist is part of the Muertos. The thing is, like, is Muertos organized crime? Yeah, technically. The Muertos is an organized gang, that's for sure. But I guess so. I don't know if like West Coast gangs are organized crime. I guess they are. Like, yeah, they are. That's a silly thing. When I hear organized crime, I think of like, I don't know. That's weird. Don't forget that we get the Shaper ID with the trash symbol tease a while back. Oh, I don't remember that at all, Tron. Calling in favor. Thank you. Yeah, calling in favor. This is the sort of like organized crime feeling crim. When is Elevation available in the store? It's a bit of a spoiler. It's at the end of this, but for a bit. Ashamadai, how's it going? I was recently watching your video about System Gateway deck construction, and you mentioned links and tracing going away. Has there been any more communicated about this? No. In this article, no. I'd be very surprised if link or trace shows up at all in Elevation. My guess is it won't at all. No Signal Games has basically said that they don't want to do trace the way that trace showed up on Fantasy Flight Games. Mind you, this was the words of June, a former lead designer at Null Signal Games. They haven't been at NSG for a bit now, but we haven't seen anything to suggest otherwise. How's it going, by the way? Welcome to the channel. But I'd be very surprised to see trace as the mechanic as known in FFG in Elevation, because Elevation is probably going to be a simpler set. My guess is Elevation is going to be a set similar to complexity as System Gateway, because there's going to be a lot of people who participate in Netrunner by just picking up Elevation and pick up System Gateway. And then maybe the rotating sets will have more complicated mechanics in it. Like, I don't expect to see things like Sabotage or Mark or Charge in Elevation. I'd be very surprised. I think it's going to be very vanilla Netrunner. And I mean that in the best way. Like, vanilla Netrunner is great. System Gateway is great. I just don't think it's going to be keywords and, you know, rules listings, stuff like that. Less Scorpionus runners, please. Did I say that? Tron, what? Yeah, Tron, I don't know what you're talking about. It was a tease from Patrick on stream like 2.5 months ago. There's no way Patrick said that. I'm the only one who remembers Tron. If you can find a timestamp, mind you, you're allowed to like make shorts on YouTube. Please don't take anything I say seriously if it's not in text. Cranked, how's it going? When was the last cards with Link or Trace printed? Ashes cycle? Yes. I think there was 3 Trace cards in Ashes, and that was the last time. So like Winchester was one of the last Trace cards of all time. There's technically Link cards, like there was the bird. Technically Link showed up on Hoshiko and DreamNet. So it's been a while ago. Anyways, this seems important because I think people are excited about crime. This part is like, huh? But yeah, just bringing crim into criminal organized crime makes me pause. Interesting point. Cyber Trooper salute. Thank you, droids. Cyber Trooper. A new region upgrade and a new upgrade that moves between servers. Every set that has ever come out has a region upgrade in it. Citation needed. But like the last cycle did, the cycle before had like 4 or 5. This means nothing to me. A new upgrade that moves, that's cool. I think we like the sysops that move between servers. They've been a bit complicated, but this is really good for Atea. This 0 out of 10. This is like a 6 out of 10. That's cool. It's good to see that mechanic. It's a fun mechanic. This is like, okay. This is actually really hard. The region slot's really difficult because like say that the region is HB. This was an issue that the last region we got was like Brasilia Government Grid. And it turns out that card, like unless you're really building into it, you can just play Tranquility. And the problem with regions is that they're very, very slots compressed because it's a best of class slot. It's like kind of like playing a console. A neutral card that can purge virus counters during a run. Whoa. So this is a big deal, but we might have a monkey's paw on this. Cyberdex Virus Suite. This was the original Mavirus back in the day. It was neutral. It was an upgrade. It worked exactly like Mavirus, except there was no net damage clause on this. But it was neutral, so nobody had to spend influence on this. And this card would show up mostly in fast advanced decks because back in the day when CVS was a thing, that's why people call it the CVS, there wasn't that many virus decks that you had to purge mid-turn. It just wasn't really a thing, barring maybe some very specific niche metas. That being said, Clot was a card you had to deal with. Back in the day, it looked like this. Notably, Clot is rotating. I'm expecting a Clot equivalent in Elevation. That seems like a healthy thing to have in the core set plus as a way to interact with fast advance. This is what Clot looked like back in the day. Now, I don't think we're going to get a neutral CVS because I think for one influence, Mavirus is doing just what it wants to. So I'm pretty sure that this is actually just kind of like something a bit less interesting than it might sound like. I think that there's a chance that this is going to be an ice. I worry that this is going to be an ice. Like Macrophage was a playable ice for a window of time. Not my favorite ice, mind you, it does say trace on it a heck of a lot, and that's really tedious. But this was an ice that a subroutine could purge virus counters, which was notable because it was a 7 strength ice. Maybe we're going to see something like, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see like a little code gate or a little barrier that says when you res it, purge. And I think that would actually line up really well with NSG's modern design style of not res all the time. So like imagine you had a cheap little magnet kind of thing. Yeah, very similar to magnet. And when you resed it, it purged. I don't know if we're going to see Purge as a subroutine, because I think Purge as a subroutine is kind of nonsense unless it's tied onto an ice, like the same way, let's say Swordsman is, where it's an okay utility ice, but the subroutine is relevant on some board states. Like if you can't break the Purge ice unless you have a breaker down, then it'll fire and then they'll mess up like Audrey, right? Like maybe it needs a clause like this, because I don't think you can print just a Purge virus subroutine on an ice without having the rest of the ice in context care about that clause, which is very, very tricky. So either have to be massive strength with some sort of trace like Purge unless they pay 3. I don't know if you'd play that. Something like Swordsman, or on res Purge or win past Purge, something like that. Not the Trace Prison deck. Yeah, there was Trace Prison decks. Let me catch up on chat. Thanks, doing well. Thanks. Had been looking to get back to playing from ADN and hoping the sets will be purchasable in EU again soon. Saw February mentioned. Oh, I'm not too plugged into the European store, which I know has been unfortunately a bit of not running as well that anybody would want it to. Hopefully that's going to be sorted out. I'm pretty sure it'll be sorted out before Elevation comes out. That would be a hope for sure. Macrophage 2.0. The virus purging thing is either be an ice or an agenda IMO. Otherwise, it clashes way too much with MAB. I agree. I'm assuming it's an ice. I haven't considered an agenda. There's a chance they could give you an agenda that just gets an agenda counter and you can use it to purge, and that is technically during a run. I guess that's a choice. I just don't know if we're going to see a neutral purge card again that's an agenda. For those who don't know, back in the day we had Cyberdeck's Virus Suite, and this was Cyberdeck Sandbox. This agenda is banned currently in the standard format for being too good. So interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Not sure how they're going to make that relevant. It's also very cool to have a purge card in Elevation, because if viruses are good in Elevation, like purging a fermenter and a leech is actually really, really important in System Gateway, if you ask me. And there's no way to purge in System Gateway. Laughs in Arya bot attack. Well, I never had thought of putting a sub boost on Macrophage. People did that flip, and they played like generally Acme, and they put it on some of their big ice too. Good take. All right, please be an ID. Oh yeah, this one. So this is an interesting thing. This is actually interesting. This makes you think. I like this. This is a good bullet point. A card with bees on it. Unfortunately, this is an S tier thing. Like this is just good. I think people are going to be excited to see bees because people like bees. I think that's great. We've seen bees on a couple cards. The biggest one is Isabel, who is a apiarist. I think that's the word. Yeah. Sick. This card doesn't see a lot of play, but it was always the highest B pointed card in B format. So that's great. Yeah, fantastic. Bees are good. 3 cards that take credits from your opponent. I think it's really easy to misread this because it doesn't always have to be runner from corp. It's also probably one of these, I imagine, is corp from runner. Currently in the standard format, there's, I think, only 2 cards that take credits from your opponent. We have Diversion of Funds, which is almost definitely going to get some sort of reprint, I'm imagining, in Elevation. I would be surprised if we see Threat in Elevation. I guess we could, but I wouldn't be upset to see like some sort of Diversion of Funds type effect, a count 7 type effect that was threaded. We also have Panweave in the format, which doesn't really do much. I'm assuming a virus that steals credits, there's a precedent for that. Back in the day, we had Lamprey, and that was a really cool, fun, important card for certain decks. Like, this was just a really great card. I like these little cheap viruses that have utility. I feel like all the cheap viruses we're playing modernly are just Ice Destruction and Leech. I like utility programs a heck of a lot. And then I'm assuming one of them is going to be a corp card that takes money from the runner. I can't believe we haven't seen that in a really long time, but probably because it's prison. Who knows? Hyper-themed Jason Statham movie, The Beekeeper. Wasn't a Wayland Ice bees, or was it bugs? Formicary has ants. Hive might had honeycomb on it, but no actual bees. But there was a Wayland Ice called Hive. Yeah. Reversed accounts in your print. The thing is, like, reversed accounts doesn't steal credits, right? It just loses credits. This is steals. So it takes money from you and adds it to them. So that is a very, very niche clause that doesn't show up on a lot of cards. So that's interesting. I think we're expecting at least 1 card. 3 is a lot. 3 is actually a lot. What was the trashable trap ice that triggered when the runner accessed it? That was Honeypot, which is B adjacent, and it did actually have honeycombs on it. Yeah, this is, or Honey Farm, excuse me. This card I've never seen see play. It does fire from archives. It's actually kind of cursed, but it doesn't steal. They just lose. This is a very bad card from Terminal Directive. Neat card though. The art is actually really quite good. Chrysalis. Well, I think chrysalis would mean that it's like a moth or a butterfly. I don't think bees have chrysalises. Like, this is a, oh, it's actually a hornet, isn't it? That looks like a hornet, a wasp's nest, a wasp. I don't think technically it's a bee, but there are bee experts in the Netrunner community, and I'm definitely not one of them. Does pop-up have a B on it? Like modern pop-up? No. Old pop-up has an eyeball. It doesn't say steal in the article, it says take. Take and steal are the same though. Like if the runner loses 4 credits, I didn't take it from them. They lost it. I think take and steal is the same. Market Forces steals. Yeah, Market Forces is a take card. No Queen Bee competition this year. Last year there wasn't. This year there probably will be. Assuming this card is interesting. Next up, a way for the runner to trash a res corp card without accessing it. This one is a known quantity on the basis that they said that during the Neon Static interview. Very specifically, in System Gateway, you run into arguably an issue, a design quirk, that the corporation can relatively easily build a Managarm Skunk Rush remote server, and then, of course, on top of it, put an Anoetic Void. That's a really easy way to win. I don't think it's bulletproof in System Gateway. Playing System Gateway only, I don't actually think that's like, it's probably the best thing you can do, but I don't think it's unbeatable. The problem is it feels really, really bad because runners are like, what do you mean I just can't run your thing? And then they're like, sorry, you can't run my thing. But there are ways to deal with it. The problem is you have to be relatively experienced at the game to figure out how to make this a liability for your opponent. And this is the sort of thing where pinhole threading, our modern equivalent to deal with cards like this, didn't exist in Startup or in Gateway. And so they were very clear in the last interview that Null Signal Games was on Neon Static, that they wanted to have a card like this in the core set for always Startup. Now this technically means there'll be a card like pinhole threading, and technically Light the Fire is a similar card, and whatever this third card is. Whether they're going to make it a shaper card just so every faction has an option, that could make sense. Whether it's neutral and influence or just neutral, that also makes some sense. For what it's worth, I'm like kind of scared of pinhole threading. I feel it's wild. There's not that much counterplay against pinhole threading, and it's a massively powerful effect. I feel like pinhole threading existing is kind of an excuse for corp cards like the Keeling or, you know, all these other ban cards, but like the one that gives you bad publicity to win the game, Super Deep Borehole. Like all these cards kind of only exist in a world where pinhole can also exist. And pinhole feels to me like in most metas, I will just spend 2 influence on 2 pinholes because it's just kind of a game winning busted effect. The problem is like the corporation doesn't know you have it and can't play around it. There's so many games where I have my, you know, my Prana condenser on 4 counters and they pinhole it. And then like, that's obviously a huge problem. Now, Light the Fire is a bit more interesting because you can pre-install it and there's counterplay to it. I'd argue there's not a lot of counterplay to pinhole threading unless you're playing against Ag Infusion, and then card gets really interesting. A lot of people in chat are bringing up Political Operative, and I think my knee-jerk reaction is I would probably only be happy if the third pinhole is a card that doesn't get played directly from hand. So Political Operative is a really fascinating card. This was a card from the Mumbet cycle, and you can only install this if you ran HQ. And then at any paid ability window, you can trash and spend X to trash a res card by paying its trash cost. And this is an interrupt speed. So the idea is someone can res a Rashida Yahim and you can trash Political Operative in the paid ability window at start a turn before she fires. Or if they're going to fast advance using an upgrade or an agenda, there are technically some upgrades and agendas you can react with. The idea is that they spend money to res their Giordano Memorial Field or their Anoetic Void more accurately. You can trash it with Political Operative. I'm a bit worried that we'll have too many cards potentially that are just like trash upgrades or trash important assets from hand, that I think I'd much be happier if the never rotating version was a card that at least you can see it coming or there's more counterplay built into it. I'm a bit frustrated at pinhole and it seems like a necessary evil. So who knows? But yeah, I don't like it when you lose to a card from your opponent's hand. It just doesn't feel so much like Netrunner. You want Paul up, you'll get drive-by. Honestly, that'll be fine. Like, at least drive-by is interesting. I always forget to drive-by is a card like this. This does feel kind of rough, but there's some guessing involved and it's relatively expensive. It's a double, expose a card if you name the card correctly. Oh, you don't even have to name. If you do and the card's an asset upgrade, trash it. Yeah, powerful effect for sure. Urtica Cypher with credits would be fun. Like Stefan, you touch it and you take all their money. Yikes. Thanks to your super rare snow day, I get to catch the last part of the Tuesday stream. Hope things are going well. Hey, hopefully you're enjoying your snow day. Enjoy the winter, huh? Bloody, welcome to the stream, Tuesday stream. Kind of read the line about Siphon that there would be more cards that let you do it, but they'd be less swingy. Yeah, there was like cards in ONR. There's an ONR card that's just like run HQ instead of accessing drain 4. It's like 0 credits. I'm not sure that's healthy, but like cards like that where it's just like, oh, it's a run to remove 3. I could see that being reasonable. The problem is like then you have to break ice, and if you don't access, like there's a real trade-off to those sort of cards for sure. I think it'd be interesting. The card frame looks weird. Is this wire always black? Huh? The interaction with Pinhole and having multiple cards to check is interesting. Frenzy, I think it is interesting, but it also just feels like, you know, it really accentuates the coin flip. Like, I think last Thursday we played a stream where it's like someone pinholes the remote server, they have a 50% chance of winning, 50% chance of dying, because it's Neurospike combo if they don't miss the Hollow Man. It feels weird. Hey Gwen, been a long time because I started a small local Netrunner meta in my city that meets on Tuesdays. It's only 5-ish people at the moment, but it's super fun. 5 is a lot. Yo, well done. Hopefully you're enjoying your Tuesdays. Sorry you can't drop in live. Hopefully you're having a good Tuesday regardless, but that's sick that you're doing a local event, like a local scene. That's incredible. They could ban Pinhole threading if Anoetic Void was errata to be once per turn effect. John, I don't think they can. I think Pinhole serves like a lot of purposes. Like pinholing Anoetic is one thing. I think the bigger, like pinholing Rashida in standard, I think is actually a much more relevant, powerful thing. Whether you want to deal with Anoetic, the problem is like Anoetic is interesting because firing Anoetic twice is already really difficult for the corporation. That is some of the counterplay. It's like forcing them to spend 4 cards is really tough. I like running Anoetic multiple times if I can. More cards that are less swingy sounds like prison? Maybe. The wire in the card frame changes depending on the faction. Yeah, I just remember it being black. Drain 2 but doesn't replace Breach. Yeah, but I think you'd have to find somewhere in the middle. At that point though, that feels like you could just play Panwave. Pinhole Clearinghouse? Yeah, like Pinhole Clearinghouse seems really important to unhealthy prison decks. Like a resource that takes up power counters at the start of turn. When it reaches 2 or 3, trash it, and 1 corp card installed in the root of server, or the corp has to pay not to trash the install. I feel like the corp would always pay for it if it's important. It's hard, Sock Monkey, 100%. It's hard to find a card that both feels like has nuanced interaction that both players can counteract to it, but also, you know, everything else. Not holding my breath for it being sorted anytime soon. I mean, it being a year, if they could fix it by now, it would be fixed. Leon, I don't know what you're responding to. The European store, maybe? Do we know if System Gateway is ever rotating? Jello Shots currently no. I think there's a chance that System Gateway could rotate, and more likely we would see like a remastered System Gateway, but I would expect that to be in like 5 years from now. I don't think they've ever said that System Gateway will rotate, but we've seen new core sets come out. Like I think you could today, if you had to, you could like reprint the core set, change a couple numbers and be like, okay, but I don't think there's any plans anytime soon. I think System Gateway was a fantastic product. Yeah, this is technically new. Very important bullet point for the health of startup mostly. So this is fine. This one, I don't know what to think about this. This just makes me think of GameNet and makes me upset. I don't know what to do with this. Game Dragon TM Pro. I'm assuming this is an NBN thing. I don't know what Game Dragon is. This is meant to entice me. It's not. It's really, really making me think of things like Ganked, and unfortunately the text on Keiko and GameNet, and all of those are just being like, oh, I don't know about this. Really, really bad feels attached to this word, and I don't even know what this word is. I don't know why. Game Dragon Pro. Oh man. Game Dragon Pro hype. I'm glad everyone's excited for the Game Dragon. I think this sounds cursed. I think this sounds awful. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, and I'm already scared of it. Jordan, I'm pretty new to Netrunner and have been exploring standard decks to build good fundamentals. Rotation is a bit overwhelming since I'm not sure what to learn or where to start from. Jordan, standard is really cool. My recommendation, because we have a rotation, hold on, Jordan, I'll just say the sentence before we go on. Elevation will be released for sale on Thursday, April 24th, 2025. We'll get back to that, but it is coming in April and won't be legal until May 10th. If you want to get into standard, what I'd highly recommend, Jordan, is firstly, proxying is legal at all levels of organized play. But I would pick up Null Signal Games cards first. And then if you want to play standard, proxy the like 5 to 12 standard FFG cards that see consistent play. So don't go buy the old FFG packs because they're out of print and it's really expensive. But like proxy a Rashida because you're going to need 3 Rashidas. This is the most popular FFG card, I would say. And I would just focus on that, is like, don't go hunting down old FFG cards because rotation's in like 90 days. So find an identity you like from the Null Signal Games card pool, and then find something online. If you want direct recommendations, I have some great archetypes and some great decks I can recommend you to. But basically what you'll find out is most tournament decks are like 90% NSG cards and 10% FFG cards. So just try and build an NSG collection if you can at whatever speed makes sense. Proxy it as well if you want, and then just print the FFG cards. Not the best answer to that. We can talk more about certain archetypes or certain like decks if you want recommendations. But that's my recommendation. It's like rotation's coming up. So with that, if you want to play standard, that doesn't change much. Just don't buy FFG products, which like, that's not really a thing you can be doing anyways, can you? I saw someone mention February on Reddit. Oh, for the store coming back. Okay. Plushies. I hope it's just plushies. All of Andre's favorite cards. Just because it says game and you have PTSD, yes, there's a bad track record with things that say game in them that NSG has done. I'm now a fan. I'm a fan of Game Dragon TM. Sounds like Game Genie to me. Hopefully some of the Shaper cards. That'd be kind of cool, actually, if that was like a cheat code thing. Hey, Ruben, I always have my Airblade X's on me when I use my Game Dragon TM. Can't wait for the Game Dragon TM Pro. I just hate it because we spent so much money buying the Game Dragon. It was like 4 months ago. And all the influencers were saying, we don't need a better one. This is the best Game Dragon for your money. And then they just put out the Pro. And I'm pretty sure there was features in the Game Dragon that they could have put into it, but they kept them out for the damn Pro. Kind of sounds like a Garhan if you say with a mouthful of spaghetti. But there's an amount of spaghetti that all words sound like all words, right? I feel like you've got to that point. New Rashida and Elevation, my guess is yes, but more so Rashida type effects across all factions. That would be my guess. I don't think we're going to be in a world where you have a Rashida type effect that is neutral. I think you need a Rashida as a corporation. Well, it's a different topic, but Jashida Rahim. From the token announcements for the EU, these will be available for purchase in the EU store. Returns in spring. When is spring technically? May? March. Good news, Europe. March 19th is technically when the store will be open, maybe. I'm sorry, it can't be faster. Do you just like game day? Yes. The new OLED screen on the Game Dragon Pro is so nice, though. I'm a little worried about the impact the day will have on April District Championship. I'm glad mine's in March. But I really hope nobody gets burned on not being able to get enough players. April is Q1 now, so can anyone really claim to know when spring is? Yeah, so let's talk about this date. So this date is later than what we thought. Originally, NSG said that this would be coming out in Q1 of this year. So that would be the latest March. That now has been pushed to April. And then that means that they're not even legal cards for competitive events until May 10th. This is a bit of a bummer. Now, notably, I'll be very clear. This is a very important set. And classically, when it comes to releases, I'd rather them take the time to put this and make this as good as a thing as possible. So if they say they have to delay it a month, 2 months, obviously they should delay it a month or 2 months because we're going to have these cards for a really, really long time. These are fundamental core cards. Like, you shouldn't rush System Gateway. You shouldn't rush Elevation. So at the end of the day, that's fantastic. It is what it is. Now, there's obviously some bummers here. This means that it's going to be more than a year between Netrunner sets. Yeah, that's not great. Like, obviously everyone knows that's not great and nobody wants it to be like that. I think specifically as a content creator, I was really hoping that we would get the new set relatively soon so we can get out of this meta into a new meta, particularly as like I have a lot of people who are, messaging getting into the game because of the System Gateway videos to be like, what about startup? What should I do next? And my response is, please wait until February when we get more news, because there's going to be a massive rotation. I would not recommend you pursue startup modernly because your cards are only going to be legal. And instead of like 60 days or 30 days, it's now like 90 days. It's not a huge difference. I was just really excited to be able to be like, okay, the date is up soon. We can start with new content and we can push ourselves forward. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Now, when it comes to organized play as well, we're currently in the District Championship series season. And so as of this year, the 2025 organized play changes, we have kind of seasons that are a bit more strictly structured in an order. And the reason is because one of the prizes of winning a district championship is that the first place player gets a buy, which they can cash in at the next event, which I believe are called mega cities. And then if you win the mega city, you can cash that in for whatever the next one is called. I don't know the names yet. Apologies. I'll just call them regionals and nationals. Unfortunately, I really need to figure it out. Unfortunately, the district championship, which a lot of people were excited to get their hands on new cards, that ends at the end of April. So there will be no district championships, from my understanding, with the new set. Now, that's a bummer for two reasons. Firstly, this meta might need another ban list between now and dawn. I think there's a chance. I'm not saying for sure, there might be, but this is actually a relatively long stretch of time to maybe not get a ban list. I think there might be some like apprehension to do another ban list because everything's changing really soon. Play with the FFG cards. There's some good reasons for that. But for me as a content creator, like, there's another bummer here because I was hoping to get our districts in near the end of April so I could film the districts and put them up on the channel. But unfortunately now it looks like the districts will be at the back end of a meta that is going to just rotate out in a couple months, in a couple weeks, which means now I don't have a reason to film the districts because spending, dozens and dozens of hours recording the districts. And as soon as that happens, FFG rotates. Like, it is just such unfortunate timing. And I want to be very clear, like, this is not a criticism of the organized play. This organized play policies were put into effect like a long time ago with the assumption that the stuff would be out at the time, let alone organized play has to make their own decisions regardless of release schedules, because they just need to make sure with this new strict structuring that over time everything makes sense in 12 months with the narrative that hopefully this organized play season is going to be pushing more. I think narrative is a strong thing. So yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Like it was disappointing because I was excited as a content creator to be able to, like, you know, push forward to film some new stuff, and all of that's going to be pushed off to largely the summer. Like, it's going to be a while. It's only 95 days, but like we're stuck in this really awkward season where like people are kind of, I think, detached to this competitive meta to some extent, as much as the 24/12 ban list maybe changed. I don't know what's going to happen. I think something has to happen in the next couple of months because it is a weird period for sure. I'm like, I understand this. I want to be very clear. A lot of work goes into this, and it is the date they think they need to make Elevation as great as it is. I'm 100% supporting. It lines up really, unfortunately, with some other stuff going on. So beans is all I'm saying. All I'm saying is beans. I don't need the Game Dragon TM because my friends at school told me all the cheat codes are Diddy Kong Racing already. April is Q2. Yeah, April is no longer Q1. They missed Q1. This message didn't say like, sorry, we thought for Q1. Like, there's no apologies in it. I don't think they owe an apology, but it's not mentioned that this is like, that this is a different date than expected. Hopefully everything is going well on their side. Do you think Rashida going away will just lead to Spin Doctors native to other factions other than Yellow? John, I think Rashida and Spin Doctor have very little overlap. What Rashida does for the game is not what Spin Doctor does for the game. So whether one of them exists or the other doesn't, you're still going to have a demand for either of them. We played in a world with Rashida without Spin Doctor, and Rashida still sees as much play. I know that one of them says draw 2 on it, but it's not really the same thing. Jai, damn, I probably missed the CBI chat. No, we're getting into it. Jai, I want to say, I considered giving you a warning. Apparently I'm a moderator in NSG chat for saying D's nuts in the NSG chat. Jai, you can't say D's nuts in the NSG chat. Hey, Fixby, it's tough being so easily. I'm not gonna say that. No district will be in the new rotation, please. Play all in the districts you can, folks. Yeah, no districts will be in the new rotation. I wonder if that's gonna make people less interested in playing districts. I don't know. I'd rather have a good set late than have a flawed set now. 100%. I agree with that. 100%. IMO NSG should drip feed scoops over a longer period than just 2 weeks. I'm surprised that this article didn't have a card in it. I think actually like showing a really cool card with like this sort of art to show the world, like a very world focused card would be good. Elevation, unfortunately, like has been delayed a fair bit. And the only card we know from Elevation, with no disrespect to Sokka, we don't know the words on it. Let's be honest. Like, it's not a flashy card. It is just like a fundamentals card. Because it also is a Sokka card with Sokka's likeness on it. It also doesn't show us the world we're in. So like showing Sokka in front of a board does not reveal that we're in Borneo. I do think if this article had a card in it, we'd maybe be a bit nicer, but I don't know. Running mostly Neo might be an option as well. I'm very conflicted about the delay because on one hand it makes districts sad and I want new Netrunner content, but on the other hand I'm very glad to have another month to work on getting NRO ready. Yeah, that's good. Maybe Elevation is delayed to make sure the EU store is back up when releases. It could be, yeah. It definitely could be. I do think that releasing this while the EU store would down would be pretty bad. Like, it very, very feels bad for everyone involved. I have no idea, but it might have been a consideration. Second UK regionals under the same card pool is sad. Running your district during spoiler season for Dawn. Yeah. You could focus on creating content and events around your custom set instead of filming districts. The thing is, Sunfish, I also want to be careful about that. Like, if I'm going to get my set out, I don't want to make a lot of content around it because it's just confusing. Like, oh, the new Netrunner set is coming out, and you tune into the Metropole Grid and you see this like custom set. I want to be very clear. This is not an NSG set. I don't think you should be playing this set as standard or startup. It's just like a fun activity to do. It gives me more time to put it out, but like releasing your set alongside spoilers for the actual like official NSG set is a bad idea. So I need to get this done sooner than later. I play your custom set of Pub Runner for a month or so for sure. Thank you. Yeah, beans. Yeah, agreed, beans. Jeff, I know from organized play, it's just beans. It's like, it is what it is. It's hard to feel upset about it. It's just beans. Off meta month, more like off meta quarter. Am I right? Tell him, Jai. Game Dragon Pro is one of the themes I'm most proud of. I came up with and considered retiring immediately. I do, and I'm ashamed. I'm so sorry, Patrick. Don't you mean Game Dragon TM Pro? Yes. My beloved Game Dragon trademark Pro, I believe with me. I'm not saying that, Neon Static. You know what I deserve? Lamau. That's Jai talking about his D's nuts ban. I love to see a world without Banhar and Turbine in it. I think those are really tricky. I think there's a chance the turbine won't be around forever, but I think for that to happen, you have to rotate other stuff. And like, there's also a big chance that elevation will come alongside like massive rotation or ban changes. We've seen that before. When a set comes out, they'd be like, oh, by the way, also these cards are banned alongside the set. Like, I would guarantee that there will be a ban list or always a ban list update when a new set comes out. I don't think you can just ban turbine. Sorry, what I find really funny is I know your frustration with Banhar and Turbine and Ice Destruction, and then I also play against you on JNet, and I know exactly the kind of deck you play, and so I get why you're frustrated, because your deck is largely, from what I've seen, and I mean this in no offense, Ice and money, which like is exactly the sort of deck that's going to struggle into that. I do think though, if you continue to play like Infinite Logjam Pharaoh's deck, like you need Banhar, you need Turbine in the meta for that to feel healthy. I think Banhar is really interesting. I think Turbine is a problem, and at some point will be addressed for sure. These nuts optimizer, god dang it. Oh man, was it with Sefwiz or Mondi? It was with me. I was casting. You were in chat. I'm relatively related news. Neon Static got, yeah, I know. It's also Vancouver in a Borneo. Said Jared, how's it going? What do you mean? Vancouver is a place in the world? Oh yeah. In the back of the back of Sokka's art, it mentions Vancouver. Did you come over? Did you buy your Game Dragon TM Pro when it came out, or did you wait for it to go on sale? I'm gonna wait for the sale, I think. No, you were in chat, Jai. You weren't on stream. Anyways, sick to see elevation. I think Borneo is a really cool location. Excited to see more. I'm interested to see how like solar punk things seem. Like, things look a lot more solar punk from this image. I have no doubt that that's going to change once we start seeing the underworld, and even like well, the upper world I think will be a bit greener and brighter, but the underworld I'm imagining is going to change. I think there's people in this mountain. I'm assuming so. This set icon really focuses on this empty space here. It seems to be as important as the upper space. So Joshua Chia's art at Chef's Kiss is really, really good. It's quite good. And Joshua Chia, I searched, had an art station. Joshua is, what are they called? The sort of designer that makes art, concept artist. And there's some really, really great stuff here. And you can kind of see inspiration. A lot of these are also 3D models, which is great, with some filtering and lighting on top of it. So this is Dragon's Rise, a city atop of a mountain where the people of the land tamed dragons for centuries. Just really great stuff. Like, the quality of this art is really good. And it's really good world building art. Like, I do think, again, criticism from Liberation, we did not see the place enough. And just having card like this that shows you what the city looks like, what the world looks like. Not that this is Netrunner. There's a dragon horse. 10 out of 10. Like, I'm down for more of it. Maybe this is the Game Dragon. Who knows? Yeah, 3D models, it's really, really cool. Airs, I don't know if I've said hi. But yeah, you see a whole lot of this like 3D modeled concept art. It's very colorful too. It's nice. Sketches. Person's very good at what they do. Not that Netrunner artists, like, not that's a surprise for Netrunner artists. Netrunner artists are great. Okay, sick. Elevation again. Not till May. Beans. It is what it is, but excited to see more. I said hi twice, so we're even now. Oh, hi. The most unrealistic thing about the location is the idea that you can get multiple sea nations in the same room to cooperate on anything. That's funny, Jai. I'm assuming that's funny because Jai is from that area, so Jai will know. Yeah, this is good art. Congratulations, Patrick, on the post. I'm blaming you even more for being impatient in the new set. Yeah, congrats to Patrick. This is sick. There's not that many articles written by Patrick. Patrick has done some great fiction. Patrick is a good dude. A good dude and a great friend, so I'm excited to see more Patrick on NSG. What is the Game Dragon Pro? I feel like I missed a joke. We have no idea, Bloody Mutt. It just is one of the bullet points. The last bullet points is just a Game Dragon TM Pro ! And I'm scared. I'm honestly scared. All right, let's go shift gears. So this weekend was the Circuit Breaker Invitational. And that was a big tournament. It was in fact 3 different tournaments. It was almost like a non-stop stream when it came to Null Signal Games on YouTube and Twitch. So Friday evening for me was the APAC pod. Then it was Americas from noon to about 8. I was streaming all of that alongside Cranked and Pants and Juniper. And then EMEA pod was starting at like 2:33 in the morning. I caught some of it live, not a lot of it. And then I watched a bunch of it while hanging out on Sunday afternoon. Patrick Bias. So the Circuit Breaker Invitational is an interesting event. I got to see mostly APAC and Americas, and I just want to talk a bit about the results and my feeling as somebody watching this tournament. So firstly, how it works is that if you want a circuit breaker invite, you can cash the circuit breaker invite in, pay a small bit of money usually, and then you get some good prize support. You get some nice foil holomins. It also allows you to play in this tournament. And in this tournament, you can sign up for one of the 3 pods, either APAC, EMEA, or Americas, and they're time zone locked. So one time zone will make more sense than you. Now, as an American player, I'm Canadian, I could play in the Americas pod if I wanted to. That generally the time zone makes more sense. But I also could start playing a Friday night at APAC or in Europe. Nobody is saying that you can't play in a different zone based off of where you are, but we got 3 technically different tournaments. Now, APAC had the least amount of players. It was 27 players, and more than double that. We had about 59 players here in Americas, and then Europe was, I believe, 53 players. So they were not evenly balanced in terms of player count, which is not really expected. And then the metas are actually kind of radically different in some really wild ways. So notably, everyone had to lock their deck in before the first pod. So it wasn't like you could watch APAC, see what worked, and then change your deck list based off of the perceived meta. But here at APAC, it was like 7 ASA group players. Everything else was pretty evenly distributed. Hoshiko and even Freedom being the majority, and then everything else falling behind it, Lat and Sable. On the second day, if we look at the meta, Lat is the most played by Sable, no surprise. ASA group, Ag Infusion showing up with 10, very few Ag Infusion. And then some weird wrinkles of this. This is a 60-player tournament. There's 2 precision designs. The heck is that about? That is really weird. I've never seen that before. Now, obviously, like HB has got hit by a ban list recently. We have no Luminal, but that is a very different change. And then if we go over to the European, which I'm the least familiar with this, Op is the most played, followed by NEH and Asmari. I'm not surprised about Asmari showing up in Europe. And then Wayland actually shows up the least here, and I think it does the best. Oh no, besides Op. Op did fantastic. Hoshiko seems to be the most everywhere besides in Americas, where Hoshiko is 5th most played. And everywhere else is the most played. Like there's clearly some differences here. And I do think APAC has mostly North American players in it, is my guess. There are definitely some APAC players, but there was a lot of North American players playing in APAC that I recognized. North America was North America and Europe was largely Europe. HB is least played and EMEA is illegal. Yes. HB did pretty terribly at this whole event in full. And representation was really, really high. Now, I think there's a couple things to talk about. Firstly, to talk about the meta and talk about the structure. I'll be honest, I don't think I like the structure of this event. I think there's maybe a fair bit to learn from this, but this format, how it works is you take the top 5 players from each pool, plus the 16th player to make a top 16. That will be Tuno. It's the reigning champion from the Circuit Breaker invite last year. They're invited back. So I believe it's playing, but otherwise it's Tuno plus 15 other people, the top 5 of each bracket. Now, this caused some issues, I think. Firstly, if you look at this, so we were in the Americas pod where, again, it started with 59 players. Pretty soon people start dropping, right? Like we go from 30 rounds all the way to 22 rounds. The reason is because if you lose your first 2 rounds in this tournament, you should drop out of the tournament if you're angling for competitive success. And that's because going from a 60-player tournament down to 5 players is just a disgustingly difficult cut. If you lose 2 games, especially your first 2 games, it's very likely, even if you win every single game from that point on, your strength of schedule is just not going to be good enough. If you lose 3 games, it's almost impossible. If it's 2 games, it's nearly impossible. And because this is an online tournament, it's really easy for people to be like, okay, I don't care, I'm out, and just check out. So it's not surprising. A lot of people did check out because their first couple rounds didn't go well. And unfortunately, I do think the tournament structure supports that. I think another thing that got really weird is at this point, between round 7 and round 8, at round 7, we had locked in the top 4 players. By round 7, the top 4 players were locked in for day 2, basically. And you'll notice this going into round 8, that the top 2 tables ID, because mathematically, these players are entirely safe to make the top 5. And so we end up into this hyper cursed situation where there's like 4 or 5 tables of people all in the same score that are playing themselves. Half of these tables have no chance to make top 5. And then the other half, you just have to hope your strength of schedule is good enough. I don't think I've ever seen a tournament where like the top, imagine it was a top 8 where 7 of the 8 slots are filled. And then there's like 9 tables or whatever fighting for the final slot. And that's because everything here comes down to strength of schedule. It's just really, really rough, right? Like these 4 players were locked in because they ID'd last round and Alex didn't lose a game if I'm not mistaken. And then all these players here, which were all 15s, basically every single player in this were vying for the last slot if they can win. Well, not all players, because some players were 12 players that went to 15, but there was like so many tables that their game didn't matter because the only way they can make it in is be the top strength of schedule 18 player. And you do not control your strength of schedule at this point in the tournament. It is just far too late. I don't like this. I added streaming. It added some very weird narratives where we're watching final games and both players are like, this probably doesn't matter as a game. It's just strange. It's really, really strange. If you have a top 8 cut, I think it lines up a bit more. I think another thing too, that like this doesn't seem like a defensible take to some extent, but if your goal was to make the circuit breaker invite the finals next week, if you ask me, the best thing you could have done was not to practice for the events, but it was to play at APAC, right? Like getting the top 5 in a 60 player field is really, really difficult. Now, the field is still really great on APAC, but getting the top 5 in a 27 player tournament is radically different. I don't know how to deal with this because obviously there needs to be a time zone that's approachable. Like as an APAC player, you shouldn't be punished because you live in, say, Australia. Like there should be a time zone that makes sense for you. So this is good. But I don't know how to make this seem reasonable. Whether you're meant to be like, okay, we know the whole player pool is like, say, 140 players. And so we're going to divide. We don't know who's going to make the top cut. I actually think this might make a more exciting thing to be filmed as well. So imagine this. So say that we had about 100 players. Technically, we had like 130 players that you don't know who's going to make the cut. And then once every single game has finished across the whole weekend, they divide the placements based off of percentage. So if there's twice as many people playing in Americas versus what's it called? APAC, there will just be twice as many people who make the top cut. I don't know if that is more fair or not. It might not be, but it's just, they're very different tournaments. Top 5 in a 60 versus top 5 in a 30 is so wildly different. It also puts people in a situation where they don't know if they'll make the top cut, right? Like here we knew that out of all these players, only one of them is going to make a top cut. It doesn't matter on SOS, but there's a chance that these players were all competitive on the basis that they don't know how many people are showing up in Europe, right? Like it becomes this weird math probability thing. I don't know. It's strange. The answer is publicize current ratios. Players who can make multiple zones work will naturally even out the pool. Yeah, maybe you should have known the ratios. Maybe people didn't realize that APAC would have a drastically different player base. And I think a lot of players here, if they could play an APAC, they would have played an APAC because it was single-handedly the best thing you could have done to give yourself a chance to land a seat. So I don't know. I think it made not the best television because it's same with Europe. I think Europe was no different. It was like in the final round. Maybe it was a bit different. These two players were locked in. I think these players probably could have ID'd, maybe not, but it was probably like a whole bunch of people playing for one seat, and it just comes down to strength of schedule. Because I'm pretty sure we ended up in the same situation where it was like, yeah, 21, 20, 19, 18. Okay, this was a bit better because there was at least 2 seats in contention, but these seats probably weren't in contention. A lot of people considered playing an APAC, assuming it'd be smaller, but we didn't know for sure. I think the next time people will adjust. Yeah, again, if you wanted to make the cut, the best thing you could have done is played an APAC. It's just like there's such wildly different tournaments when the tournament is twice the size as another one. And again, all of these players are like great players. This is not meant to be a slight of the players. In fact, a bunch of my friends made the top cut here. And these are great players. But it's like, it's weird. It didn't land well, I don't think. It's a bit wild the slots weren't proportionally allocated. Rohit, that's how it's going. I think that's the term I want to go for. Proportionally allocated, which I think numerically it should have been like probably, if you want to get 15 slots, I think it should have been like 3-6-6 instead of 5-5-5 for a couple reasons. Shout out to tiebreakers who bubbled all 3 events. Was an invasion for Canadians for APAC, if I understood correctly? Yeah, a lot of West Coast Americans, fair few Canadians as well. Yeah, it's strange. It's not my favorite. Great streams and commentary all 3 days. Really enjoyed binge watching this weekend. Fix, glad you enjoyed it. Can we talk about the EMEA ID demographics? By the way, those are wild. Yeah, we'll get to it in a second. I just want to catch up on chat. That was the Montreal NPC. 7 of the 8 top was locked. That might have been the case. I don't know. Maybe there's a chance too that like when you're playing for the top 5 slots, there should just be fewer rounds. I don't know how that math works out. I'm not very good at that sort of stuff, but it just felt really like this last round was like mega cursed. Andrea, how's it going? I didn't notice that Nottingham got to top 5 with 2 corps. I don't think Nottingham played. A lot of people considered playing an APAC, assuming I read that, excuse me. In Europe, 3rd and 4th got paired down, so we had to play. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Sometimes you get the side pairings where you just get paired down, so you have to play. If the pairing was different, you would have ID'd. Yeah, that makes sense. EMEA was a bit different because there was a double pair down. Okay. Only 1 versus 2 could ID. That makes sense, assuming that like these stats say it. So the idea was that these 2 players, one of them was paired down radically, so their opponent could not ID safely, so that this game actually had to play out. Not against Smurf. No, I know. I just like, I don't like Smurfs. I really don't like Smurfs. I don't. I knew that was who that was. You can tell by the decks for sure, but I don't like it. I think it's even made worse by the number of people dropping, which must have impacted on SOS. Oh yeah, that too. Like this is what happens. So a lot of people dropped. So say that you play someone in round 1 and they drop. What does it do to your SOS? Like how many of these people played against somebody who dropped? I think it's like very, very bad for them. Hey Diggs, I know you said it before. What is ID and why doesn't that hurt their points? So ID is something called intentional drawing. And what you can do before a round starts is you can call a judge over, and under their supervision, you can offer your opponent a tie. Basically, you say, me and my opponent, I would like to offer an ID. If your opponent says I accept the ID, basically you don't play the game. And so you don't risk the outcome that one person gets 0 points, one person gets 3 points. You just get the score of them tying. So they each get 1 point. This is the safest thing to do in later rounds in a lot of situations, not all situations, but in a lot of situations. If you're someone with Alex who's undefeated, Alex cannot not make the top cut. Like Alex is locked in. This is our world champ, locked in for the top cut. So there's no reason to play. And then Ben, who's also locked into the top cut, has no reason to play the game. So you basically just give yourself 1 point. So you both continue to go up because again, every round, half of the people don't go up, half the people go down. And if you ID, you all go up, but you only go up a bit. But if you're already the top player, going up a bit will still keep you generally in the top 5 or top 8, whatever your cut is. That's what intentional drawing is called. It's supported by the organized play policy and you need to support it. Otherwise people will do it illegally under the table. I don't think you should be allowed to smurf in an invitational event, but that's me. You want to mess around in AMT. The thing is like for smurfing, okay, very clear. I don't want to be like ripping on someone who smurfed. If people smurf, that's fine. It's not my favorite thing. Like this is not an attack at a person. I think for a lot of reasons, people will register under different names, sometimes because of personal expression, gender expression, how they're feeling that day. There's a lot of reasons to do it. As someone who wants to like watch tournaments and follow narratives and talk publicly on camera, like I know who this player is, so I know what they'll play, what they expect, what their story is getting to this point. It makes it difficult. So it's not my favorite thing. I sort of get that. Thanks. Yeah, of course. Don't hesitate to ask. Dropping and crushing to SOS is the average points they have 1 loss in 1 game and they drop the SOS to 0. Similarly, buys are just not counted. Yeah, buys have no impact, but yeah, people dropping just ruins your strength schedule. I don't know. It was strange. I'm excited to see the finals, but the format of the tournament, I think could have some feedback for sure. Now let's talk about this. And again, so the top 5 here look like they're locked in and I was a bit pessimistic about this and I don't know how not to be. So these are the top 5 players from Americas, the section I'm most familiar with. And just to talk about the 5 corp decks, specifically the corp decks that made the cut, kind of paints a message that I don't know how to deal with, okay? So Alex is playing Nearth Hub. This is a combo kill deck with false lead, end of line. What you would expect. Very similar to the deck that Alex played at Worlds, but that's the sort of NEH score false lead, you run, they take your turn away, you die. Very powerful deck. Then Dranked here is playing the outfit, owned and operated, and I'm getting so tired of the outfit. This list we saw on stream, and it's just like, again, I want to be very clear. This is a good deck, it seems. It's winning, and if I'm dunking on anyone for their deck choices, I don't mean to be. I'm just talking about their game plan and what I think about Netrunner as a sport. This is not a judgment of the player. If this was a deck that I thought I would do well in a tournament and I was there to win, I would play this deck. This deck is just kind of rough. It doesn't build a remote server. It sits backs and it ices everything. I think I played a couple outfit games where you end up in this like terrible board state where there's 4 ice on R&D, 4 ice on HQ, and they're just sitting there doing nothing, hoping to draw into the regulatory capture or their big deal. And then notably, this deck, I'm pretty sure, is also running multiple copies of Trojan Horse. So heaven forbid you run archives to make a successful run. They just trace you out and then you lose your program and you lose the game. This deck even had like ScapeNet in it. It is just like the celebration of I'm going to sit back and do nothing if you make a single run and you don't have more money than me. And the game just seems incredibly rough, like just rough. I think a lot of this exists because people are not playing Clot, so you can say that's for them. But I'm just so tired. It's been now a couple months where every time we see an outfit matchup, like by the last turn 4, turn 5, we even saw this at EMEA. It's just like 4 ice on R&D, 4 ice on HQ, and you're just hoping that you find the points because they don't have to do anything. I'm kind of getting upset about this card. I think a lot of this exists because people are not playing Clot, so you can say that's for them. But I'm just so tired. It's been now a couple months where every time we see an outfit, like by the last turn 4, turn 5, we even saw this at EMEA. It's just like 4 ice on R&D, 4 ice on HQ, and you're just hoping that you find the points because they don't have to do anything. I'm kind of getting upset about this card. I think that this might not have been a healthy card because it just supports you have enough points in your deck that you'd never have to build a remote server. You can just sit back and do nothing. And then all the, oh, you touched a card, the game is over cards, unless you have more money than the corporation that can click for 10. Like, none of this makes sense to me. I don't know how well positioned it is in the meta. It's probably pretty good. That deck was also running, if I'm not mistaken, on stream, Helheim servers. So you can make a run and then suddenly it's like a 12 strength, I don't know, trebuchet the trash of your stuff. It sounds really, 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 really uninteractive and not excited to play against this. Next up, Seb is playing Venti Op. If you don't know Venti Op, it's like a 70 card op deck that's running as few agendas as possible. It spams every 0-cost upgrade you can get. And then if you don't win the game relatively quickly, it mutually assured destructions for like 9 tags and then you die the following turn. There's a reoccurring theme here. Out of all these top 5 decks, there's one of them that wants to score to 7. Arguably, Alex actually does score to 7 in a bunch of games. I think we did see him score to 7. Alex gets a pass here. Technically, Drank is actually scoring to 7 too. But like, none of these are playing Netrunner the way that you think that Netrunner should exist. Seb K, again, Venti Op, it's a very good deck. It's been around for a long time, but it's like, you know, sit back, put your upgrades, ice up centrals. You do build a remote server, you can score a remote server, but it's just like blow you up with combo. B-Bloom is playing a really cool op, just really great tempo op. Op did really well, especially in Europe on the weekend. And then Davzi is playing Hoshiko, not Hoshiko, is playing Neurospike as Mari. Out of these top 5 decks on the corp side, this is the only one that I think people were like, oh, that's what Netrunner should look like. Totally not a value neutral statement. Everything else here is buck wild. Like kill combo, uninteractive kill combo, uninteractive fast advance combo, sometimes scoring out, but also uninteractive kill combo. I don't know why this is. It's a bit different in other regions, but like if I had to play in this meta, I wouldn't, particularly as a casual player. And I don't think these decks are showing up in casual tournaments, but I don't know what's going on. Was losing Luminal so bad that corporations are just not, like, I don't think Luminal solves this, but like Luminal is a card that we were encouraged to score out. These decks are just going in a totally different direction. Now, Ag Infusion is the only other deck in the meta right now that's like scoring out, and Ag almost made it on the bubble. Again, 0.3 strength to schedule. John also played really great Ag Infusion, 1 strength of schedule. So this is the closest. Thomas Haas also plays some great Netrunner, off a bit on strength of schedule, but these are the only decks in meta that are actually scoring to 7. Everything else is doing something that is a horrific orthogonal combo. There's a lot of reasons why that is, I think, but I'm scared. I'm genuinely worried. I don't know what to do about it. Trojan Horse feels way worse than Red Capture. Oh yeah, 100%. Trojan Horse is just cursed. Just a really, really rough design. That was, mind you, Trojan Horse existed in a world where we had bin breakers. We don't have bin breakers. There's a whole faction that if you trash their breaker, they lose the game. Now you could argue build your deck differently, but I could also argue don't make a card that says run archives, trash a program. Rig Shooter is an archetype that is not played often, but prison deck. The thing is, like, Diogen, Rig Shooter, when I know Rig Shooter, like classically Andre pushing his values Rig Shooter was an interactive game back in the day where you actually scored points in the remote server. You took on risks as opposed to like sit back, ice up everything and just like hope that you draw in the right order and destroy every program on the way down. The Red Cap and Ontological waiting room minigames are definitely a thing that happens. Yes, Ontological showed up as a very legitimate win condition in APAC as well. Not my favorite. I lost the game where my opponent has 10 bad pull-up and 7 ice on R&D. That's what the game comes down to. Like, it looks really rough. Regular capture is neither a healthy card for the game, neither a healthy concept for free market capitalism. Well, they nailed the second part because that's meant to make sense, but I don't know how you make this like feel okay. Maybe you can't fast advance this. Maybe you can go down to 0, but you can't fast advance it. Maybe when you score it, it removes a bad publicity. Like, I don't know, but I'm getting terrified about this. This seems awful. With 3 simulships, Ashen and Labor Rights, trashing program is a really non-issue if you're playing Shaper, and then that's why they play ScapeNet. Like, it's not the truth, sorry, it's winning events. Imagine Corporation playing by the rules. To be fair, the rest of the 18 pointers were on Ag, which brings the ratio back. It does, but it clearly didn't do good enough. It was very close, though. But I agree. I think like scoring just doesn't, it seems like people don't think scoring is incentivized. Let's look at a couple other metas. I don't know what Amaram's op is. I'm assuming Amaram was on assets. This is Ag Infusion. I don't know if it's Punitive Ag or like Glacier Ag. This ASA group, I think Styx is playing Reg. This Tehran has a really interesting PD list. It is fast advancing. And then Diogen is playing Punitive PE. I've seen so many games where people just run archives on flatline. And it's like, okay. And then on Europe, what did we have? John playing Op. Okay, I'm not sure what Op John was playing, but John always plays Op. Brandon playing the King. I'm assuming that's good stuff. I'm not sure what pouch kind of Op this is. This build to last was really wild. It had like that upgrade from Jemison in it, and fast advance some points. It had Archer Eminent. This was like a very weird list. I want to see more of it. Bridgman does cool stuff. And then Kickby is playing Neurospike Ismari. Surprised to see so much Op. Me too. Op did really, really well. Op is also like the most represented in Europe as an identity. Like that is huge as opposed to the other regions where it was not the case. But Op converted relatively well. 3-pin ults crushing to egg, so hard to play into. It's really, really good, but they have to set up the double. Bring back Plascrete? I don't think I want to bring back Plascrete. I don't think that's a cool card. Beeblum and I repping the Fair Op. Yeah, the Fair Op is fun. Oh man, that game on stream. So again, you can watch all these games on stream. The VODs are up on YouTube. The game on stream between, not this one, between Benvelopment and who was it? Larea, I think. Holy shit, that was a good game. That was so good. Larea playing Dao gets down a Conduit with like 5 counters and Beeblum is still fighting. Oh, it's such a cool game. Yeah, that was a really, really good game. And that's the thing is like on the stream. Okay. Oh, 2 things actually to say. Firstly, if you're ever watching a stream, I just want to be very clear here. If you're ever watching a stream and then you say in chat, I would really love to see so-and-so as the streamer, we see that. However, if we're not showing the person that you're voicing for, it's not that we're ignoring you. It's often that person will be playing that round against someone who asks not to be on stream. It is our goal not to highlight who has said they don't want to be on stream because that is a private matter. They talk with the media organization team. So if you ever be like, wow, I really want to watch Larea and the Larea is playing against player X. If player X is on the don't stream list, we're not going to say, sorry, we can't see Larea. We're just going to ignore your comment. So just keep that in mind. If you're ever in chat and you be like, please root for people, please say who you want to see. But if it ever seems like production is ignoring you, usually it's because we have to ignore you. And I'm saying this also saying if you don't want to be on the stream, you are on, put your name on the don't stream list. There's no bad reason to do that. Please do that. It's a sick thing you can do if you don't want that to be the case. Just the consequence of Anarch, the same thing happened 8 months ago. It's wild. I don't know what it is. The Conduit Aeneas deck is my spirit animal. It's really, really rough. I was like, I know what's going to happen. And then it comes down. It's like C5 on R&D, gain like 12 credits. I'm like, this is a hard thing to fix. Crew's popular, so Corpse opts for unfair game plans, but like Crew's really good into Ag Infusion. I honestly don't think Crew is that popular. Like Hoshiko did relatively well. And for what it's worth, Hoshiko's a lot of different things, but like a lot of the Hoshikos I think did well were Virus Hoshiko with a bit of Crew, but I don't think Crew Hosh was like the winning thing, but I might be wrong. It's hard to look at this list of Hoshikos and know what they're about. We are still coming out of a trickshot lab meta while pushing out in a server was generally a losing prospect, but it looks like we've gone even further in the opposite direction. Like that's the thing. Maybe it'll course correct. But if I looked at this tournament and I looked at like lat pre-trickshot ban, like the trickshot meta seemed more like Netrunner-ish. Like it seemed cool in hindsight. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Didn't Tron play the Ontological Waiting Room deck? Yes. I don't want to spoil Tron's deck because I don't know if it's public, but Tron has other stuff to it for sure. I just feel like Plascrete still made kill decks able to win, just needed some skill to use up the counters to trash a hardware first. Daddy, the bigger thing to me is I just don't like cards like this, which are just, oh, you install it, you turn off the win condition. For what it's worth, we have cards that do something like that I'd argue are still like, there's this fine line between making the tech card a brick in other matchups and making the tech card too playable in other matchups. You can beat Stone Ships easier than you can beat Plascretes. That's for sure. But I think we're in a meta where we're not going to see cards like Plascrete Carapace again or like Caldera again. That sort of design of unplayable card that only does something in a single matchup and wins that matchup, we're probably not going to see that again. And I think that's for the best. I think you need to find some sort of really difficult mid spot between a card that has tech relevance, but it's also interesting. I think one of the ones I love shouting out is Class Act. It's a very, very good card. And then also in certain matchups, it is your tech card. And it's up to you to use your value piece as a tech card to not die. I'd rather see cards like this. It's a very hard thing to design for. Recap being capped at a 3-2 would help. Yeah, it'd be pretty bad though. Would be good. Shit, like how's it going by the way? Amazon Hollow Rush Up. Okay, not surprising. The corpse said I'm just going to blast. Core damage PD from Tron blew my mind. Such a cool take on a fast PD archetype. It's probably going to be frustrating to play against. It looks cool. The build the last deck was a wonder to watch. Yeah, I only saw a bit of it on stream and then people were like popping off with like that again. What's it named? What's the name of the upgrade that lets you advance twice? Oberth. Very cool. I think the lesson we can try here is that America is full of sickos, Beeblum, Larea, Holy Basado. Larea was really fun to watch too. Having this 2-week tournament delaying all the top cut deck lists is driving me crazy. Yeah, unfortunately, people play on stream. You can kind of like figure out it will be open deck lists for what it's worth. The top cut, so we'll see their deck list soon enough. I know Tron's deck list. Should the game, for game's growth's sake, be balanced 52% win rate for runner? If not, why? Generally, I think most people, John, favor having the corp to be slightly more favored. For what it's worth, I crunched the numbers. APAC and Euros was 53% win rate. North America was 58% win rate. So it looks like these things were winning more corp games. These are really gross decks in general. Again, value neutral statement. Am I right? I don't know though, if it still feels like that. Like I've talked to a lot of people where it's like the win rate versus what is perceived doesn't line up in a way that makes people accept the meta. Right? Like it doesn't matter if the corps are winning if the runner either gets crushed or they crush. Like how many of these games are close is I think that I want to ask. I do think on average though, corps probably should be slightly higher than 50, but not that much higher. Yeah. When the corp meta is like balanced, this is an issue. I don't know how this happened though. How does corp +2 happen? Like generally everything's balanced. It won't be for APAC, which sucks because of only 7 rounds. Yo, Santa, research are the best type of protecting versus kill, as a dynamic to being trash when tagged is really interesting. Yeah, as a baseline, that's always a good start. As much as not every kill deck tags, but I think you're right about that. The thing about Stone Shit that annoys me is that the opportunity cost of playing it is so low. Yes, I agree. And I know even when it came out, there was like rumblings be like, oh, wait, this card is just generally playable on its own, and that's going to have an issue. That's going to be an issue. And again, World's meta, everyone's playing Lat with 3 Stone Chip. None of these kill decks showed up really. And now that people aren't packing their free don't die buttons, they're showing up, and they're showing up a lot. That being said, I wasn't around. Orthogonal strats would be even better, so I don't know if it's a necessary evil. I played Built the last of my first tournament in 10 years on Sunday and had a blast with it. Got 4th in my corp side, doing slightly better than runner. Yay, well done. Slightly better than runner. Yeah, maybe that tracks. I think corp's slightly harder to play than runner. Tagless kill, Malia, I didn't hear no bell. London, how you doing? How do you feel about open versus closed deck lists, especially with respect to trap and rig shooting decks? I think there's certain decks that did well in Swiss that are going to be an uphill fight with open deck lists. I think if players knew that this deck was on, say, that kill piece Trojan Horse, they would play differently. Now, the question is, and I'm assuming that the deck still functions in open deck lists. The problem is that you have to fight a bit more for your wins. Again, I don't want to solo out a single player. I don't mean to. For instance, Daogen here is playing Punitive, and I saw 2 games on the day where someone Dirty Laundry's Archive steals 6 points and dies the following turn. If it was open deck list, that wouldn't happen. And the question is, does this deck still have a game plan when your opponent doesn't die on turn 2 running Archives? My guess, yes, because Daogen built the deck, but it unfortunately does lead to some frustrating non-games, either as a spectator or as someone playing the game, where like maybe it's up to you to play more cautious until you know what the deck is doing. I think that is a line you could get out of it, but I do think there's certain decks that will have a harder uphill fight versus closed and open deck list. I don't know. Yeah, some of these deck lists are what you expect. Like, there's actually a chance that some people here haven't played against Venti Ob in a long time, or if ever, and they don't know what to do into the matchup. And now they have a week and an open deck list, they can figure it out a bit. I do think 70 card deck is still really difficult to figure out because every card can be any card. Understanding what the op is doing, like trying to figure out, oh, if they pop a border control, are they going to get a calibration testing, or are they just going to get a virus? How many viruses they have? Like, information always changes the matchup. If you asked me in a vacuum, would you always want to play, if you could only decide to play open decklist or closed decklist Netrunner for the rest of time, I would always choose open decklist Netrunner. But I'm also not a big trap enjoyer. I like to play more tactically and produce forks off of known information as opposed to forks off of unknown information. Again, that's not a value neutral statement. A lot of people would like the other, but I do think open and closed decklists are going to have a sizable impact on these decks. For sure they are. I think Tron's deck too, shout out to Tron, people don't know what this deck is capable of. This deck has core damage in it, and understanding how impactful core damage is or how impactful tags are when you run into an ice that gives you a tag is super, has an impact of people understanding what your deck can do with core damage or tags. So there's a lot of decks that will be impacted much more obviously with open information. I enjoy open lists more, but that's because I like to plan ahead. Yes. Did I say I like open lists more? I might have said backwards. I like open lists way more. I declined stream before the last match to hide what I was up to. Surprise face checks are super important. A bit behind on stream. Yeah, and I agree. I think you should. Being an aggressive runner against Jinteki P is generally a bad idea in general. D almost won the worlds with P and had different ways to punish over aggressive runners. But Diogen, the P matchup, like, Alex knew the list. The thing is, like, and I don't mean to disrespect the deck, is that you're playing bacterial programming. How many times has somebody ran into bacterial programming PE this last year? I would say maybe 0 times. So people don't have an understanding that there's a chance that they can run archives and you'll feed them 6 points and a Fuji and 4 net damage, right? It's just like something that people don't consider. It's like playing, I wouldn't say it's like playing Snare HB because like those cards at least are in faction, but it's just not an archetype that people have ever seen. So they're not playing around it. They're checking archives to like flush a Regenesis. Maybe in the Regenesis situation, you can give them 6 points, but like this card just hasn't shown up in a PE deck. I don't know if we can find one in a while. Again, not a value neutral statement, but if it was open deck list, they wouldn't do that. So we'll see. I still think you can build forks though, where you can get them in situations where they have to check archives, but is your deck on Regenesis? I think if your deck's on Regenesis, they don't have to check archives. The deck is based on a local champion, a low table in NBC Montreal. Frank did a drop game with his PE archetype? No, he did. He dropped a game in the finals in open deck lists. But I think I saw some of those games too. People ran archives and flatlined. Like, I don't mean it to be disrespectful, but like the thing is, if people don't know they're playing around punitive, you can just win punitive games. And then I think Jeff played against Frank and like Jeff saw, oh, it's a punitive list. And then, you know, got money up and didn't make risks. I haven't played any tourneys, but I think I would feel when cards like Saisentan exist would feel bad. Yeah. The thing with Saisentan luckily is that it's in Jinteki. And so face checking with a killer is something you already want to do in Jinteki. But when someone face checks into Saisentan and HB and flatlines, yeah, I get salty about it. CBI is published, you can look it up, Evolution Numérique. Maybe my brain works differently and maybe similar to Diogen, but when I saw his deck playing on stream, I assumed it was a punitive deck pretty early on. I would assume it because I know Diogen and I know the deck that he's playing because that deck has been played in my meta for a while. And maybe there's something to that, to be like, oh, I know my opponent, I know what I'm going to do. But yeah, I usually lose against punitive lists like I did on the weekend when I forgot it's an option to the corp. Yeah, because punitive doesn't really show up a lot. Like it's not a card you see all the time. So yeah, you can just lose games to it. There's not that many games like cards like this in the game where it's like, oh, you made one run, you lose the game. Like this is a very unique card. You made one run, you lose the game. For a new player, what's the weakness of punitive when you know that it is an option? So a couple of things. So actually, let's open the deck list to show you what I think you should do against a deck like this. Evolution Numérique 3-1 top cut CBI APAC. Okay, so this deck is not on Regenesis. So if you know the agenda suite, this deck can't score to 7. It can score to 9, which takes them a lot of time. So firstly, you don't have to do anything quickly. If you know the deck is not on Regenesis, it cannot score out. It's going to take a lot of time and credit to score out. So you have to wait a bit. You don't have to be fast. Now, if you know they're on punitive, all you have to do is have cards in hand like Steel Skin. On a turn that you steal agendas, put down something like a class act to draw cards, and most importantly, have more money than them. Having more money than them can be difficult on the basis that if they do fire bacterial programming, they can draw 7 cards and then your digital life kind of messes things up. But if you're an Anarch and you hoard multiple Steel Skin Scarrings in hand, you have some options. I like that this deck has an Urtica Cipher. I think that's going to at least do well in the top cut when people know it's there because it'll have some amount of fear. But if they just have cards in hand, they can run everything. They might be okay here with money. Hey, Draco. Elevation is a way better name than Dawn. I think it's about equal. I banked a Nuka counter against PE decks. Really good for when you need to draw up before big run. Yeah, Nuka counter's fantastic. Play your stone ships, don't use them. Onicom. You may be underplaying the Neurospike fork here. Oh shit, yeah, this deck is on Neurospike. It's on 2 Neurospike. That's true. I think if they're on Neurospike, so the idea is that they do a big old Fuji into Neurospike that does 3 into 3 and to potentially 3. So you're right, when they quad advance, you have to consider running. So specifically, unless you're like on Onicom and or if you keep around an Audrey, you're right, you actually do have to run. So they're not scoring to 9. Yeah, that's a substantial misevaluation of the deck that you do actually have to run. I think though you can run everything. I'm pretty sure you can run everything here. The ice is reasonable. An enemy could be a surprise, but you probably can run everything as long as your money's up. I think my very first in-person game I stole a bacterial was so happy before flatlining the next turn. Yeah. Whenever you like, I remember as a new player dying after making a single run back in the day. It's like, wait, this is a weird game, isn't it? I think the cut corp meta is a little bit kill stilted, but not by a massive amount. Someone FA, some rush, a little control, a bit too much kill. There's not a lot of people scoring 7, like in a remote. I propose all future set development titles will be Dawn from now on. The new set is always called Down. Yeah. I don't know. I think this can definitely win games. I'm interested to see once they understand. All I'm saying is when your opponent understands this here, they will play differently. I want to see those matchups. I watched a game where it's just like Dirty Laundry Archives. They die. The number of turn for each game. Yeah, I saw 2 of these games. They just like run archives. Die. Like I saw the one where you played against John. Or not John, against Chris, right? Yeah. I think round 5, Chris just dirty laundried archives and died. It is what it is. All right, I'm going to close a lot of tabs. That's the end of the news section. We've only been talking for 2 hours. Ag Infusion did really well from my perspective. It just missed the SOS in both APEC and Americas. Yeah. Jeff, also, I don't know if you watched the Ag Infusion play we saw across the board. It was really good and really fun to watch. I think I saw good Ag Infusion games, which is really interesting. There were interesting games to watch. I do think one of them was a Sisyphus game, and that made me upset. But overall, Ag Infusion just missed the cut, but it was a very performant deck. I agree. Has anyone posted an Ag list yet? I don't think so. I think a lot of the bears, so like Chris was playing good Ag Infusion. This is like the sort of version that was played at Worlds, if I'm not mistaken. So it's running like HB influence. That's great. I think Augustus was playing only 5/3s and Sisyphus. I saw some expensive stuff too. I do think the plethora of kill/non-scoring is really bad for the game and kind of makes me want to make a hot take video. Yeah, Jeff, I'm excited to see a hot take video. It's been a while since I got to see a Jeff video. But yeah, it's a weird meta. It's definitely very weird. I left Saturday after the stream, 8 hours. I was really hungry, but after leaving 8 hours, usually after reading the Netrunner stream, I'm like, oh, yo, I want to play some more Netrunner. This meta looks sick. And I was just like kind of scared. The last round being like a weird round that didn't matter was one thing, but the meta is like, I don't think I wanted to participate in this competitive meta. And again, I don't think this is representative of the district meta. We'll see what that looks like. We're going to see those tournaments come in soon. Out of time, Flame Pro Arella Ag Infusion. Back Pro Arella's Wild Tempo. Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? No edits, just do it. Jeff, you got to do like an Instagram. You just turn the camera on. Hey, speaking of video content, I want to shout out a local friend, John. John V, you might know if you played in Montreal. I've come out to events. He's been making great prize support for stuff. Really nice dude as well. John V has put up a channel, John and Kate, Backroom Deals, starts tomorrow. So their first stream will be tomorrow at 19 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, tomorrow evening. They'll be doing their first stream. It's both on YouTube and Twitch. On YouTube, it's at Backroom and Deals. On Twitch, it's Backroom Deals. They're going to be their first stream. It's going to be paper play. For those who don't know, John and Kate do the RPG clinic alongside some friends in Montreal. I believe Pat will be there tomorrow as well. And they largely do RPG streaming, a lot of werewolf stuff and some other stuff, but they have a whole like studio in their apartment. They're very nice people. That's going to be starting tomorrow. So I'll link all this stuff below. If you want to watch some nice Netrunner streams, it's Wednesday at 19 hour, which is 7 o'clock Eastern. So check that out. J9's gonna be scary for a couple weeks. I think I'll stick to playing Corp for a bit. Yeah. CBI is very different from a normal competition. Every player is technically a veteran. Yes. CBI is like a very, very tough competition, which is like why like imagine having a tournament of 60 players, all of them like CBI winners, and you're trying to fight for the top 5. It is absolutely cursed difficult. That is so difficult. I am not envious of that position. This is a circuit breaker. Let me close some tabs. The doorbell just went off. I think Maddie's getting it. Yeah, there might be a delivery. Thanks, love. Do you have any takes on the expected CBI winner? No, 0 takes. It's a double elimination. I don't actually even know how the matchup interleaving works. I'm assuming the Boffins know. I have no idea. I don't have a good idea looking at the spread. We didn't even talk about the runner side. The runner side is a lot of Anarch. There's like 1 criminal. And then the Shapers most Shapers, Lat, Arson, and Kit all showed up in there. I don't have strong opinions. Without looking at a bracket, no, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think Asmari can do it. I don't think Killsmari can do it. I think there's too many teched people to it to some extent. So we're playing a CBI raid in a deck today. I don't think we can. I don't think it's in standard. I don't think it's been in standard for a while. Yeah, it's a Mumbed card. I'm tapping out for a bit. Could be back in an hour and a half for some Seiko PD if you still want it. Yeah, Toronto, I'm around. It's not that deep. Dawn is the name of the dish soap brand. Wait, Draco, sorry. I'm too innocent to get the joke. I'm 99 and 44/100% pure. Oh, I missed something. The matchup I want to watch is Arzon versus Bridgman. I don't know if the bracket allows for it. Yeah, I want to see more of Bridgman's Oberth list. It seems really cool. Arzon hasn't been playing too much. I don't think he's just basically jammed the decks from Worlds and has played them really great. I think it was also Larea versus Arizon was such a good game during Americas. It was like round 6 to round 7. Also a very good game worth watching. Very, very exciting. I think Larea, she had a terrible opening. It was like 2 turns in a row Rashida on a Managarm, and then it still becomes very, very close. Comes down to like credit perfect. It's sick. Another question, does the preponderance of trap kill decks plus closed deck list means corps are more favorite than runners? If your deck is about like a weird trap fork, yeah, 100%. Closed deck lists are going to help. That being said, I do think the good trap decks do well in open deck list, and also open deck lists can favor that. We're like understanding there's an Urtica Cipher in the deck. How's that going to change your play pattern? So sometimes information is a curse. What are we doing today? I don't know. I just wanted to talk about Netrunner for a bit because it's been quite a weekend, that's for sure. Hey, Cat, I think closed deck lists favor the corp in general. Yeah. You generally have to play around the corp more than you play around the runner. A lot of times when you're playing against a runner, you're like, okay, they're on deep dive. It's not that often you see a runner deck that surprises you with a card that if you knew you would have played different. Unless it's like Arasana plays a diversion of funds or something like that. Which like, yeah, that's worth knowing. Cat, hopefully you're well. Oberth is a great include in Eminent deck as you can install in Reza without the Eminent score. Yeah. Oh, you can get one, right? Yeah, that's kind of cool, isn't it? I don't think that list is published. What are we doing? I know Council just published a reasonable sized Seb deck, which is good to see. It's very strange to me. I don't understand this list. I was looking at it really quickly today. So Council's a good Seb player, great Seb enjoyer. I like playing Seb. The last time Seb list was posted by Council, it was like 60 cards, which was unfortunate. This one doesn't have price or moshing. Notably, though, it has some cool tech. It has 2 Audrey, which the other versions weren't on Audrey. And while it can trash things with a singleton imp, which is very wild, it does have 2 Eye for an Eye. We're seeing more of this. It's pretty good at the meta. We also have 2 Contaminate, which is like kind of a reasonable card. If they purge out the Audrey or even the imp, M's, you can contaminate it, which is kind of good fun. And that means Audrey actually breaks a lot of stuff. That's nice. We do have Praxis, which allows you to replay your imps and your Botulises. That's kind of cool. And then we have 3 badges. The last version was on no badges. We're still in Amanuensis, which like, it's up to you to decide whether that's a problem or not. I think there's only the NBN matchup, and specifically either if they're playing 4-2 NBN with that cursed agenda, which you take tags and install your stuff. This is also on a singleton classic. Hate to see it. The Jai playing 2 games, posting a deck list, actually having this in there. And it seems like this card is just really good. And I think people are really enjoying Class Act when it works with Lagu because it fires once per turn on the corpse turn. And I think we also saw Brandon. I think the King was playing Lagu Class Act in Hosh, and that deck looked really fun as well. So 5 influence. Andre, you need to file the power of Amanuensis badge classic Lagu. Ooh, yeah, I know. I'm just so frustrated playing a 1 of 5 influence card that you can't really tutor out reasonably. Now, what's weird about this deck, it doesn't run Devil Charm and it doesn't run Leech. I do not know how to play an Aquaceres crew deck that doesn't play Devil Charm or doesn't play Leech. Because this card only does what the text says, and the text is fine. Even if the text just gives you a tag, sometimes you want to fast give a tag with Seb, that's for sure. We have multi-axis as a single Manuel, 2 Eye for an Eye, and I think that's all we have for multi-axis. So I often played, when I played Seb, I would play like a Stargate or something like that. So I don't know. This list looks so strange to me. It's like missing some things that I would assume are key concepts, but obviously it's not. Banhar says ice. Yeah, this one does have 2 Banhar in it. I think Banhar was a reason why Council classically was playing a 60 card Seb deck. This one also has Ashen and it has only 1 labor rights. So if you get your buffer drive down, you can always panic back in Ashen. But I do think you are going to be set up. And if you're floating a tag, you're going to be drawing a fair bit. And we'll just give this a shot. I think the price is really good in Seb. It's soft tutors for TCA because of Praxis. Oh yeah, that's cool that you can price and then you can hit your resources in the bin and go get them with Praxis. I agree with that. Especially with like Class Act, right? Like installing this for nearly free is really, really good. Yeah, no backup dancers. It's just Amanuensis. Oh, sorry, it's just Aquaceres crew. No Leech. This is so strange to me. It doesn't come with a big description of how to play it. I think we're going to give it a shot though. I do like playing Seb a lot. Now, is this tech to deal with kill decks? Unclear. Play your Class Act again, maybe? I don't know. Let's give it a shot. Got it. I'll see you for the Golden Path Ace list. I've been playing the hell out of it. So fun. Gonna miss Ace on rotation. Yeah, Asa, I would say underperformed pretty significantly at this event. There's still a couple ASA players. I think there's like one ASA, one HB player that made the top cut. But there was a lot of ASA. Just imp their end of line. I'm going to eye for an eye it. I don't have to imp anything. 3 badge. Badge. Oh man, what a fun card. I need to bother NSG. So they sent out like the full, with the proper card stock of the world's participation prizes or the world's prizes from Barcelona, not the solidarity badge. I need to bug someone because that's my favorite card to play because it's like the staff participation card. And I still have the only flimsy one, which I can't play in a competitive event because it's a different card stock. I kind of like Ace a Lat meta better, not gonna lie. Cat, almost me too. I would say not too different on my side. Like I kind of like that. Thought that part of Worlds was sick. There's 2 Ace of 1 PD. Oh yeah, right. Styx is playing. Not. Asmari. Okay, it's 44 cards. Bad blood. I'm assuming this is actually a tag-based deck. Hey, thanks. Thanks, you too. So you want to look at your number of your opponent's cards. This is Asmari 44. So it's more likely to be like Public Trail and something that actually interacts with tags favorably. That's bad for us because we have an Amanuensis. Otherwise, this hand is like really cracked. If they ice HQ, it's a bit worse, that's for sure. But we have an early class act at a minimum. But I'm assuming this is going to be a bouncy deck. If they run 40 cards, we're pretty sure it's Neurospark Asmari. Sometimes they play 49 cards if they play like Seamless Launch, but 44 is probably Seamless Launch with Better Citizens Program. I like this hand. No ice, they're definitely going to ice. Yeah, Bad Blood Mulligan, I don't know, maybe not. When Rotom is not playing PD at a big event, you know something's up. I think Rotom regretted it pretty heavily. I think Rotom would have played PD, but Rotom didn't. It was weird, yeah. I think I agree on the whole, but I'm happy that outfit is somewhat playable. I really think the modern outfit decks are like mega cursed. They seem like they're embracing like every worst part of uninteractive Netrunner. What's Contaminate from this list? Audrey, Imp, Botulus, but mostly Audrey, which is cool. He wasn't playing PD because it's miserable into mulch. All right, what are we doing here? We could just class act do nothing. This could be Seamless Agenda, it could be Rashida. If we face check and we get a tag, we actually can install the class act. So if this is a ping, we actually probably should run it. We want to get a ping because we like ping. It's a Messney. Oh, that's worse for everyone. Now this means we can hot fursuit, but that will give them 2 credits, which means they can res a ping. So if we hot fursuit and it's exactly a ping or a wraparound, we're cooked. So we can't really afford to do that. I don't know what we're meant to do here. We're assuming that's a Rashida. We have 1 pinhole and 41 cards. Just do it. Oh, it's so bad if it's a wraparound. Because we give them a free res. I'd rather them be on Rashida money and nothing else. I think I'm just going to do credit. I don't want to play Class Act go down to 0 because we have no money cards. Cred HP? There's no way you do cred HP. I'm doing this for you, chat, but this is like a wraparound for sure. Oh, never mind. We're the best. Attitude? Okay. All right, Lago we want, Aquaceres we want, Solidarity Badge we want, Botulus we want, Audrey we want. These are all really good cards. Crew doesn't really have anything to hit here. Solidarity Badge is a 3 of in the deck, but it's a bit of a draw engine. I think we'll probably drop the badge because we have no way to trash cards in this hand. That could be wrong. Am I mishearing Andre or is the stream a lot more cursed? You don't call this hot fursuit? That's way better. Okay, so it's Rashida. So we're assuming the card on HQ is not a wraparound. So they're pushing here, 1 of 9 credits. We kept our tag. Great. They're calling event. We won't play event this turn. So we can either Botulus here. Then we know that they have an attitude adjustment. They could be on Seamless into Crypto. That's a hard thing to deal with. So we only get the counter if we get a tag while Amanuensis is on the table. So we probably can just install some stuff. I don't know how to get a tag for this hand. We could do Botulus. We have to like remove tag, Botulus, Fursuit, install Lagu. So we can do Botulus, Pursuit. Takes us down to 3. And then we could install the Lagu. The problem is Amanuensis isn't firing. I'm going to try it. I just don't know how to deal with the Messney if this is what we commit to. You get a counter if you end your turn tagged? Oh, sick. Ah, okay. Well, we still wanted to do this because Seb doesn't have text otherwise. So play the Lagu, Yodel. We've seen 2 Yodels so far. Are they actually on Crypto? I'll do this. There's a chance we die. They just have end of line. Andre contaminate HP. Yeah, Audrey's not that good at dealing with message chest, so it might be correct. We'll see what the attitude adjustment. We could die to end of line here. No ace on HQ. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Degree mill, project deal. Okay, this looks like they're scoring out. So this is not re-education. I'm assuming they're on like bounce stuff. Like we're gonna have a problem floating tags with Amanuensis. We might not want to in this matchup. I don't know why they're not resing. So this is like a 3 cost plus ice. Self-growth, sick. Trank, okay. Yeah, this is just like not a fun matchup where tags actually do matter. So the Lago went back. We can reinstall the Amanuensis. Probably we want to draw here for a class act. Okay, we have FOAF. We have a second Andre. We don't need that. So we can do friend, remove the tag. I'd rather remove the tag after Amanuensis. So we can do Amanuensis, run HQ, run R&D. They shuffle cards back. So I'll do Amanuensis, run R&D. If they crypto us, we'll be on, well, not great, but okay. Do we want to turn on Oppo Subliminal? Oh, they're probably fast advanced then. So they're probably playing Commandment Subliminal. So we can be a bit more aggressive. We don't want to float 2 tags because of a shipment from Vladisibursk, but if they're in Subliminal, they're definitely on like Commandment to get counters. So we could get bankrupt pretty bad. I'm just going to sell the Lagu and pass. We'll clear the turn with friend of a friend probably. Hopefully we draw something this turn. Tags are the worst. I'd be okay if self-growth removed a tag. Maybe Seb doesn't want that. I don't know. But that card's going. Moonpool. Yeah, Moonpool could be an option too. I think often you play like Greasing though. Oh, Greasing is a huge issue in this matchup. Oh shit, yeah, they're likely playing Greasing. So this triggers, we get a strike fund of a friend. I'll take a strike fund, I think. We lost the Valentina, that's a bummer. They play the Subliminal, so they want money. Huh, so if we remove the tag, we draw 2. So we can do with friend of a friend. We still have a thing to respond. If we do friend of a friend, we spend 2 clicks to make 4 credits. I don't love it. I'll just remove a tag. Okay, we have Praxis, which is fine. We have Steel Skin, which is fine. Another Lago we don't need. So we need to find our 1 multi-access card. Okay, are we taking a tag this turn? Are we playing an event? I don't think so. We can do Praxis, install the friend of a friend. But then we want to float the tag. Thinking. Like, I don't understand how to get forward tempo. I'm assuming their hand is clean, so the best we can do is run the top of R&D every turn. The question is, how do we do that? We probably should get Audrey down. So we can do Audrey, run R&D. We can only trash a 1-coster. Yeah, we don't need to fire Seb this turn, do we? We'll see what we hit here. We can still Praxis. Oh, that's good. This turn's on Oppo. I'm assuming we don't want to float tags. This messes up our shuffle, or like our deck stack, but I don't think it's that bad. So I guess we will take it. So we have Audrey Contaminate. I think we'll get rid of Amanuensis and Lagu. I really don't think we should be floating tags against this deck. We float tags and make them trash your stuff. Yeah, but if it makes sense for them, then it makes sense for them. We can play Strike Fund without playing it, which is really fun. Otherwise, we're clicking for a credit and discarding a card. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to trash this to gain 2. And then we can play, we want to play one of these when we take a tag. So I think we'll just take a credit. That might be bad into crypto. I don't know. They need Seamless. I'm assuming if they're in Tranquility, they're on a bunch of small agendas. Praxis install Valent to remove tag. Oh yeah, on Thread it's okay. I just didn't want to give them credits, but apparently they have credits. So we need to find our thing. So on their turn, we're going to Audrey the Steel Skin to try and find our pinhole. We found Banhar, Audrey, Crew. Okay. Problem is, if you float tags, you turn off a lot of the cards. Yeah, we can't float the tags. So we should run this. I'm assuming, well, now our hand is a bit worse because we use our Steel Skin like that. But here we can do Contaminate, Audrey, run the remote server. We could Praxis first, and with Praxis, we can get back Valentina. We can get back a program. That doesn't matter. Yeah, it's worse after using the Steel Skin. You're right. Like, we might want to keep the Steel Skin for the run. So they can score out any agenda here, and then they can be on game points. We have to get lucky on R&D. We know there's still a Beal there, probably a 2nd degree mill. So we can just ignore their stuff. Let's start with a draw, because we get a filter draw. Imp is really good. We got rid of our badge, unfortunately. But we can do imp, run R&D, praxis, or sorry, Banhar, and then just hope. Where did our hot pursue money go? We installed a bunch of stuff. I mean, I don't want to imp this guy. But we will. The Lagu is pretty important if we're playing Audrey. We just need cards in hand. This is not a great imp, but I want to overinstall this imp to praxis it back. We just want to get a program with this. It's really easy for us to get back the Valentina. Like reinstalling the classic is also technically possible. Praxis for Val instead. Friend, tag, friend for crew. I'm assuming we'll praxis for Val. That's our only option, really. Is it true they're working on a new version of this game? Ark, how's it going? No, what do you mean? Who's they? And what's this game? Netrunner? So they didn't score, and they could have Holloman. They could have scored out anything. So either we're putting more pressure on centrals. That makes sense. And they're going to trank there. So this could be a maze. I'm not sure what else it could be. So Botulus, running HQ is not super important. They have an agenda goes into server 1. I'm assuming they're a greasing deck. We can ban her R&D. I'd rather ban her the remote server and force some reses. They can res a Hydra though. Okay, so we can praxis. They get 2 credits. I don't think it matters. With praxis, we can install Valentina and friend. That seems like we're doing a lot. So we install Valentina. You take the tag first though, which is really ugly. So you take the tag first so that we install friend for 1. Then we're on 0. And then we can install Valentina for free, gaining a credit. I feel like we're doing a lot for very little. Maybe. Someone told me a new version of JNet. Oh, Lucille's working on something called Netrunner Online, which is like a different online platform that you can play Netrunner. I think it has different like fundamental ideas. I think it is like rules complete and it's meant to simulate more what a physical board looks like. I think she has it in beta. But that is not null signal. That's not JNet. Doing a lot for very little is kind of how these Rube Goldberg Seb decks work. Like, yes, I agree. I'm going to draw once. Okay, eye for an eye is fine. That can deal with combo pieces in a pinch. So I'm going to just practice and do a lot for very little. Or do little for a lot. So this feels like a lot. It's not. Fully rules compliant, I would know. So Seb, apparently the order you can choose? Oh, that's good to know. So we'll do friend. We'll do resource. We'll install Val. Here we can remove a tag, which gains us a credit. Instead of gaining 2. And a program to install, unfortunately, we have none, but we have a lot of these. So now if we remove friend of a friend, we gain 6 for a click. Unfortunately, draw lasts. Doesn't seem great. We can run R&D for single. If it's a Eula, we're fine. The more I see, even the more I love Seb. The style of gameplay encourages so unique and entertaining. Leafar, how's it going? It's cool. I feel like a lot of times the puzzles, like I wish they were more interaction based. It's kind of fun though. You have to think a bit more. Why not use to gain more money in a tag? Because we were already tagged. You're right though. We could have like just kept it and then cleared tag manually. So this is just 3 damage. I don't think we care about this. We lose the imp though, but they just pay 10. Normally they're paying 5. Oh, sick. Oh, fuck. Oh, thought I bannered that. I thought I bannered that. Why remove a tag with friends so that we would have text? You're right, though. We could have clicked for a credit and used banner later, but this is fine. So this thing gave them 5 credits back. Yeah, we were tagged because we praxised. We were tagged. I'm glad that we cleared the tag before he ran at a minimum. Otherwise, this would actually have text. So they didn't push an agenda. Oh, we didn't have a tag and we played friend of a friend into a crypto crash. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's so bad. That's so bad. We just got cryptoed and we just spent a click for 5 credit button for no reason. I forgot we had no tag. You can still use friend of a friend because it's gain 5 and remove a tag. Removing a tag is not the cost. Oh, that is so bad. Oh, that's gonna like, is it gonna cost us the game? Yeah, probably. Yeah, honestly, probably. That's so bad. Okay. Yeah, we have nothing to do here. We're cooked. Yeah, we're so far behind now. We could have kept that button for that play. Now we have nothing. Yeah, okay, game's over. Valentina gives a bonus credit even if you do not have a tag, which I'm not supposed to happen. It only gives you a bonus credit if you remove a tag. It shouldn't give you a bonus credit. It's only if you remove a tag. Unless it's like wrong on JNet for some reason. Cool. Yeah, I reckon our margins were pretty thin at this game, and then we threw it pretty bad. But it did when you removed a non-existent tag. No, because Valentina actually removed the tag from Praxis. Like, Valentina gave it a tag. I don't think Valentina gave us a tag when we... Oh, you're right. Maybe Valentina gave us a tag when we removed the fake tag with... Okay, so hold on. So Praxis installed Valentina. Valentina removed the tag. Valentina, you're right. Valentina gives you a tag if you fire a friend of a friend and you don't have a tag. That's why I didn't realize that we messed up. So Valentina says, when you remove one or more tags, and Praxis says remove a tag, but apparently removing a tag doesn't necessarily mean you're removing a tag. It just means removing the tag text. I don't think that's correct. I don't think I've seen anyone do that though. So we gained an extra credit that we shouldn't have gained. That's fascinating. Okay, so this is a total wash of a game. That's fine. The best we can do is just send it and hope. But if they have an agenda that goes in here, they can win next turn, so we just have to run this. The problem is that we don't have enough credits, so we'll just do credit. Run? No, we can't even get into the remote server. So we can do... Unfortunately, you can't play eye for an eye if you're tagged because you can't have nice things. Like the instruction to remove a tag and actually removing a tag are different things. Yeah, it sounds like it, right? Like removing a tag is the sentence. So Audrey contaminated is 4, so we can't get there. Yeah, we lost a credit anyways, but it's just cool to know that it didn't work. So if it's crypto, we have to be a bit careful. We're like 1 credit short of making this play. Just summon Spree. Oh, removing a tag only costs a credit. It might actually been right to remove a tag there in case they find the second or the final, what's it called? Self-growth program. Yeah, we punted this game really bad. Apologies for that. We'll play another one for sure. This is not a great matchup, I reckon. Remove tag eye for an IHQ, steal all the points in hand to win. Yeah, but if it had points, they'd put in their remote server. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So we'll draw. This could in theory be a virus, but we just need to run this. Draw. Contaminate. Run. We'll see what happens. Ping. Cool. Oh, why are we tagged? Oh, we're already tagged, so our ability doesn't fire. Woo. They might have an agenda in hand. Maybe we should have a click left here and 1 fewer credits. Because then we can run HQ. Gatekeeper? Okay, so we can't get in. Gatekeeper is 6 strength. So we probably just let this fire. Because we need 2 counters for Mess and Chesso. This only gets a 3. If we had a crew, we'd still be short. Why not get in? Because we need 4 counters. We can't, right? We have to get to 6 strength into 4 strength. We don't have enough counters. The counters are for subs. All right, well, this game's a wash. That's fine. The counters are for subs, y'all. The counters are not for anything else. Oh, hey, Nanako the Cat. Hey, good game. Oh, we made a pig 0 out of that. It's fine. It's only 18 minutes. Thanks for the game. Oof, propelleritis? Yeah, imagine that. These counters not being for strength. Come on, that doesn't make any sense, does it? We were watching Andre tilt off the face of the stream here. No, I'm not honestly that tilted. We made a bad mistake, but I'm relatively calm. Like, we still played our outs. We had to run this server. We would have done it. We would have given 4 cards. We would have stole the Beal, and we would have been in a game point. We maybe could have actually won that game. Andre breaks 2 subs. Yeah, I'm learning that. This is for subs, not for strength. I thought it was the opposite. I'm so used to Faust. I'm used to spending cards for subroutines. It's like Banhar or Faust pill. The fact that this is the opposite of both Banhar and Faust, parts of Faust, don't read too much into it. It's definitely going to get me. Brutal. Not a good matchup, I reckon. And we played it very poorly. We have a visitor cat, though. Oh, no. Swap sides. Got him. I feel like if we don't flow tags, we just don't have a draw engine, which is not great. Oh, Nana's just cleaning her butthole on the floor next to the bed. She wants some privacy to do that. I shouldn't have shouted that out. Hello. Hi. Jemison, cool. We have to watch out for traps. Jemison can do traps relatively well. Jemison, you don't see it a lot. Best of luck. Have fun. Says when you forfeit an agenda, place an advancement token on a card and 1 additional token for each agenda. So our best thing to do is make sure they don't score early standoffs or hostile takeovers, and we can deal with O-berths. The heck is Jemison? Jemison can be fun. Very commonly with Jemison, though, you just end up playing like a big Urtica cipher and move a lot of counters at instant speed. You res archers. We have to watch out for face checking into archer. The fact that this deck doesn't run Devil Charm, I still don't understand how we're meant to interact with ice. I'm assuming it's like Audrey. Is this Council's latest Seb? Yeah, neither it is. This is our second game. Our first game we like botched irreparably on multiple angles, so we're getting there. I don't love this hand. 2 Lagos is fine, and Amanuensis is fine. We can probably float tags in this matchup. I don't know. I feel like every hand we want a way to tag and a way to install something that carries. Like, did they cap? They kept. Like, what would we do here? Install Lagu? Click for credits? We can eye for an IHQ after installing a Solidarity badge. Like, we can in theory do draw, eye for an IHQ if Hello doesn't respect fursuit. Then we can install the Lagu and then install the badge first. I'm going to mulligan. I could see this being very playable, though, but it's entirely dependent on them icing HQ or not. This hand looks more straightforward, but not easily better. Hey, Jeffrey, opposite the most power counters Field Breaker 2. We've been conditioned to believe that counters increase strength. Yeah, we have, haven't we? Let's say that. Oh, they didn't ice HQ. Oh, I hate this. Okay. So we want to contest this because we're assuming it's a Rashida or an early agenda. We want both of those. So we're going to put down badge first in case we can trash something here. What they can face check, it's probably border control. Oh, it's not cat. That makes sense too, I guess. So they res this for functionally 2. So all we want to do here is probably run HQ for a trashable. Oh, they advanced the card in server 1. Ooh, that's a good punish. Yeah, this is the sort of deck you have to watch out for. So they're going to be playing traps. We'll play Banhar. So Urtica Cypher, if they can forfeit an instant speed with something like an Urtica, with an Oberth, they can put all their advancements on a card. Early Eminent. I feel like this is the only reason that Corpse wanted to score out in the modern meta. And there's an Archer. I wish we had a way to destroy that, but we don't. Now, if we can run this, we can. They have no way to forfeit. We can draw into... We probably want to trash this before it gets enough advancements. So badge will draw. We'll put this on server 1. So we want to find our... What's it called? Our... Aquasaurus crew. Got there. Is uninstalling Banner against a deck with Urtica the wisest? Yeah, totally. Because you can figure out when they have to do it. But like, we have to run this. So we can either play Steel Skin. I'm just going to draw. I actually don't like this hand so much. We probably just run this. We have 1 credit. I imagine we want to be on 3 credits in case it's a wall-to-wall is pretty likely. So I'll just do this. A Keiko plush we find arrived. It's so good. They're really good. I got a Keiko behind me on the couch. I like Keiko a lot. Hopefully you hit the Steel Skin here. And the Laborites, I think. Beans. Literally the worst. It's a Rashid. Okay, that gets us one of these, which is great. We'll draw. Okay, we have an Amanuensis. We have no way to get tags. This opening hand, I feel like I'd rather be Hoshika. But imagine we kept the other hand. We'd actually be really good because they didn't ice HQ. Like a first suit would be sick here. Yeah, right? All right. They're just clicking for credits. So we'll draw. That's really good. We can blow up the server. The problem is we need credits. I'm going to Steel Skin because there's a chance we can find a Hot Pursuit. This is kind of perfect. Hostile architecture. Okay. If we trash this, we do get a solidarity badge. I reckon they can't really afford to res this. They're really trying to hurt us. Here we can probably install the Amanuensis and that would be fine. We died to end of line. They might be on end of line. I feel like, I don't know how we can play this deck if we're not going to risk end of line. We can hot pursuit again, but Seb doesn't work because Seb only works if you're not tagged. My son really loves his Keiko plush. I got her for my wife, and my toddler adopted Keiko instead. Oh, super cool. Unfortunately here, Nanako the Cat has no interest in the Keiko plush. All right, so now we'll use Solidarity Badge to remove the tag, which draws 2 cards. This one's not on Miss Bones. I think all the last versions that Council posted are on Miss Bones. So we'll put this on server 1. And so we only have 3 credits. So we can hot fursuit. It doesn't have a thing to install though. We can run archives with Praxis to reinstall a friend of a friend. I think I'm just going to hot fursuit HQ and then run server 2, run server 3, and trash server 1. We're just going to run everything. No, thank you. Spin. Okay, so there's probably another spin on the table. Otherwise, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Which means I don't think I want to trash this one. I'd rather trash the table. They can res 1 architecture. Corporate town. Fuck. We care about resources a lot. I appreciate you adopted the casually for off pursuit. All right, we can't let that be a thing. That's the hearts and minds. You trash those, and then we'll run server 1. This is probably an agenda or a spin doctor. So we'll continue to encounter. We won't banhard this. We'll just crew it, I think. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. They just fired it. That's no good. Yeah, be careful. That's all good. I've done that before. Now this puts us on only 1 credit. So we're going to take another tag here and trash it. We can deal with Rashid and an agenda. Hoping for, oh, clearinghouse. That's fine. A lot of cards that do damage, but I don't know how they work together. So their hand is Spin Doctor, Clearinghouse on the table, and Unknowns. We got a 2 fursuits, which is the best money we have. Hand is 3 Unknowns, and they didn't put a Spin Doctor on the table. All right, so Clearinghouse is a thing that they could put counters on at instant speed, especially if they res like something very expensive. So we'll do badge to remove a tag. We have to remember our cards don't work because we're tagged. That's great. We'll put this on, I guess, R&D. Like all we need here is a bones. We just need credits. So we have to like remove a tag just to be able to play Praxis. We might have not wanted to go 2 tags in. Maybe we should have taken the damage. I feel like trashing a cat before it gets to 5 strength is like a good thing to be doing. I think imp is your bones. Yeah, but we have 1 imp. And it's not Miss Bones. If I run Spin Doctor, he might not pop it. If he doesn't, we're in a bad spot. We just have to check these. We want to float a tag because of Amanuensis. It's a wall-to-wall, so that's worth trashing. I don't think we have the clicks. Hearts and minds. Yeah, because they advance the clearinghouse, so we click for credit, throw out a badge. This is just absolute grinder. Okay, so they Spin Doctor without us running it. I think we feel good about that. Let's see what they shuffle back in. Rashida and the ice. Cool. So wall-to-wall, totally fine. That's why they have to go for the Spin Doctor. That makes sense. So they can advance. They just get a card and a credit. The advancement has no impact here. But we have to not let them get a card and a credit. Their economy seems to be a bit like ours. How do you make money in this deck? I guess we're just like clearing the tag and hot pursuing archives and getting a friend back. But imagine getting Miss Bones back. Solidarity badge, remove a tag. Engine is good. Okay, that's something. We'll put this on R&D. So here I think we just Praxis. That we can install 2 friends. That seems good. What? Oh, sorry. I mathed wrong. Yeah, they're all 3. Friend. Okay, so we can run one of these. We actually don't want to remove the tag, I don't think. Maybe this was an overextension. Maybe the crew is better. Because we don't want to remove the tag this turn. I think we can do credit, run one of these. What's the worst case? I think we just take 2 credits. Like Rashida's the worst case, so we can run one and get information for a credit. Ooh, maybe we should friend. Ooh, that's a good steal. Shit. Remove again? I want to end our turn with a tag though because of Amanuensis. There's a chance this is wrong, but I want to end our turn on a tag so Amanuensis can fire. I think the 2 card draw is better than us friend of friending or clicking for credit. All right. We really want to find a Hannah. Oh my God, we want to find a Hannah. So we'll put this on R&D. Hannah would be so good. So we'll remove a tag, draw 2. No Hannah, but we found a Manuel. All right, we're just going to run 3 things. We don't know server 7. We should actually deal with the wall-to-wall. Azyef, I don't worry about punitive. Azyef, I don't know what's going on. It's a hostile, it's a Rashida. I'll take the damage. We don't care about our hand. So we lost Manuel and Epilogue. Manuel was one of our better cards. But we trashed the badge, which is important, and they're on 1 credit. Panic's happening, yeah, they're just spamming on the table. They've also turned off their wall-to-wall. Not that they were using both the card and the credit here, but actually they need cards and credits really bad. So we're just not going to deal with the hostile, I don't think, for a bit. We didn't float a tag, so we'll just use this to draw a card, I think. We just want to find Hannah. Nah, whatever. Okay, so we can take a tag. We have nothing to install, though, but it does draw 2 cards. Like, taking a tag is actually not bad. We just want to be in a situation where it actually matters. So I think we'll run servers 12 and decide. My laptop died when we were talking about bees. Did I miss any Arkham tangents? No, sorry, Ren. It's an Urtica. Okay. So they lost the botches and eye for eye. If we trash this, we take 2 more damage. I think honestly that's fine. We don't want them to advance this and use them as a Holloman bait. Actually, no, they already have the clearinghouse. I don't think we care about this. Yeah, I don't think we care about this. So we just won't trash this turn. We can run HQ for the single. I don't know what they'd be holding in their hand. They can fire snare. It's another clearinghouse. Okay. We have to just make sure they can't forfeit at instant speed. Oh, that's really good. So we're going to friend to take a tag to install Lagu. And then we float a tag and we get Lagu, which is going to totally keep up with their asset spamming. If anything, we should deal with the wall-to-the-wall. So we know 2 clearinghouses, wall-to-wall, hostile. We stole a lot of points, but we didn't get punitive, so we don't have to worry about punitive. We have Botchless to run a remote server if we need to. And they're drawing with wall-to-wall, okay. We have good money. Draw, okay. So we can consider clearing the tag and eye for eyeing HQ. Lagu. Lost a pinhole, that's fine. We got a buffer drive. I don't think we're going to need it. So here we will remove a tag, draws 2. I think we'll do that. Okay, Praxis. Praxis gets us no Hannah so far. It gets us friend of a friend, a Botulus, and a Manuel in theory. I think that's pretty good. Do Seb decks typically not run a Miss Bones? They do. Council's decks used to. This deck used to be on Scrubber. Yeah, I think when Timmy Wong was playing Seb, was playing Scrubber. I like either of those a lot. This is obviously the matchup where it like really seems important. We'll practice. But a Scrubber or a Miss Bones, both of them would have been fantastic. Honestly, Scrubber would have been fine. So we'll do Seb to install. Oh, we don't have a Seb trigger. Yeah, right. This is not a great run. So we'll go for a This is a really bad run. Why am I doing this? I guess it's good with Amanuensis. So now we don't care about the hand so much. We can install Buffer Drive, but I don't think we're going to be ground out. Oh, we only have 1 more Labor Rights. It's technically safe. So Rashido will take 2 damage, and we'll put the Labor Rights on the bottom. We can die to end a line. Scrubber on Centrals feels pretty good. Yeah, the fact that Scrubbo can deal with uninstalled cards is really good. So they still have a lot of work to do, so we probably shouldn't be floating tags, because the only way that they can easily win is end of the line, and we probably shouldn't give them that opportunity, let's be honest. At this point, they probably have an agenda in HQ. They're going to push for their remote server. We lost a Botulus, so we can Banhar their remote server. The most we can take is 4 net damage, so we have to just keep cards in hand. It might be like a hostile architecture play. Okay, they're pushing, so we just run HQ here, and don't die to snare. So we'll do Banhar on server 4. We'll put on RD. We'll do Solidarity Badge to remove a tag, which draws 2. Seems really good. And we have Amanuensis to contaminate. Okay, so we'll run HQ C2. We don't care about the table. This should win. If not, we don't do anything, really. Whose deck is this? This is Council posted this deck. Yeah, there you go. Good game. Yeah, no icing HQ against Seb is going to be really rough. Thanks to the game. But just putting things on the table, if your opponent has good economy, they can just keep up with it. We really wanted a Hannah. We have 3 Hannah in the bottom 20. Thank you. Thank you. The early Eminent was really, really good. Getting the Archer at R&D. If they put that Archer on HQ, the game is wildly different. Because all of our abilities fire off successful runs on HQ. They just need to keep us at HQ. And this deck can't actually deal with Archer as well as old Seb decks could. Only see 1, you're not tagged. But we had 3 cards in hand. If they do end the line, we would have lost there. We probably shouldn't have flown it. Wait, this deck has 1 Hannah? No wonder we can't find Hannah. It's on 1 Hannah. Bummer. Now Hannah's like really good into certain metas. Otherwise Hannah gives you like this like really bad baseline that you can always like run at Archives with a Praxis, get Hannah back, and then gain 2 clicks, which is like not a terrible baseline because Seb is really bad at setting up. But that feels awful. How does this deck play into Kill NEH? You can make tags work for you, I think. Into Kill NEH is not terrible. If they're on B1001, which most of them aren't, it gets a bit interesting. But against Kill NEH, you can probably float a single tag with Amanuensis. I think you're allowed to do that because the most damage they can do is 8. So it depends. If they're on double end of line like Antoine is, then it's a problem. If they're on single end of line Mindscaping, then it gets a bit dicey. But I'm assuming it's not terrible. It could be bad. It could be bad. We have no good way of dealing with wraparound. Well, no, we have Botchos and Benhar. That's okay. I feel like you can make this deck so much better into NEH by playing like a Bones or at least a Scrubber and then like 3 Hannah. 3 Hannah is so good into NEH. Because even if you hit a Behold, you can deal with it on like click with like a click loss only. Brandon, how's it going? How you doing? Let's try again. Very, very interesting. Yeah. I feel like this might be tuned specifically for a CBI meta. I don't know exactly what that'd be. Council didn't write that too much. But there's like some inclusions that I find very interesting. Asa, okay, that can be fun. So into Asa, we really appreciate having an early Banhar. This is where Miss Bones also goes pretty far, I think. Our opening hand. So we can eye for an IHQ. We don't have a lot of cards we want to trash. We can install friend, take a friend tag to install Manuel, swipe HQ. I feel like for this matchup, we want to go fast. So we want to as quickly as possible find our Lagu. We want to quickly as possible find our Benhar. I think this hand is not awful, but I imagine we can do better because Amanuensis is also really good. Lagu seems really, really good into Asa. I'm going to mulligan. We found our 1 Hannah. We found I, Strike Fund, and we found Audrey. I think we can work with this. See if the Ice is cute to deal with Fursuit or not. We probably still face check server 1. I don't care about a Gradekeeper. Okay, that's good. I think that's how you probably have to open if you have the cards for it. He capped, right? He capped. Best of luck, have fun. Does Ace of Grease? Not always. Some of them do. Some of them don't have slots for it. Some Aces Grease. Asa has like an operations compression issue where their ID ability doesn't work with operations very well. Some Asa decks are just like running a Biotic 3 Restore. Or not Restore, sorry, fully out. Okay, so we probably are just going to set up. I'm okay face checking this. We can get the Audrey down, but I'm not assuming we're in trash. So I think we just get like Hannah Run gives us a tag, which is kind of totally fine. This is like the cool thing about playing pressure is that if this is an MIC, he's on 6. Should we play around MIC? If we play around MIC, we should draw first, and then we should Hannah. All right, we'll play around MIC slightly. On 6, I think MIC has some respect. It's not super common. It's a Gatekeeper. That's what you expect. So we're going to take a tag here, which is exactly what we want. Let's see if they shuffle back. We do not play around MSC. I think you can consider Vitruvius and Ikawa, so telling us nothing about the deck besides there's 5 points in R&D. So we'll play a friend. That probably is a Rashida for them. So we're on a single tag. We don't want to Hannah remove it because Hannah's so good in the matchup. So we want to run R&D and maybe rip an Ikawa. I don't think we need to remove the tags with friend of a friend unless they're on greasing. But if they grease out of Vitruvius, it's like whatever. Fully up. Okay. I'll just draw here. There is making go to 0. That seems fine. Unless it's a Rashida, which is likely what it is. Oh, it's a Nico. Like, I think trade, it's amazing, immediately not great, but then it gets better because we can't deal with an MIC. So they want to res their MIC in the matchup regardless. And if that's the case, we might as well spend a click. We had exactly 2 clicks to lose to MIC. Yeah, you're right. With Hannah, we did. I did that wrong. That's very funny. So fully op is what we knew. Fully op again. Card in server 2. At this point now, drafter is a bit more worrisome. Oh. second fully up? 2 fully ups? Okay. I think we're okay with that. They stabilize a bit. But we need to be drawing cards. So this is a drafter. They get back at fully up. That's not great. What will this be? It could be an early agenda. I think they were a bit flooded. They shuffled back. But R&D is relatively dense. Grease of Vitruvius is a heck of a line out of context. We need to find a way to deal with ice. We'll draw for sure. Okay, Praxis has no triggers unless we friend of a friend first. And then we only still have half a trigger. I don't want to go 2 tags in with Hannah. Ugly. Oh, this is really ugly. Yeah, this is really, really ugly. This is where, like, I don't know what to do with the Audrey. Audrey requires, like, so many moving parts for it to make sense. I think we remove the tag. Install Audrey, run R&D, and hope. Oh, we can't even. That's on me. But, like, I hate committing to Solidarity Badge and Audrey before we have something cooking. I think Buffer Drive might be slowed for this matchup, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't even know if installing this is correct. Next turn, we start with a Steel Skin. It's not a Rashida. I wonder if they score at something we're upset. We need to deal with the powers that bees. Ooh, upgrade. Okay. Again, we know there's 5 points in there. We don't know what this is. Could be a Tranquility, or they could just felt not like scoring. We didn't bite. I think HQ is probably where we run here. They're not going to build an Aces server this turn. Bees. The powers that bees. For the new card. Hedge fund. Okay, 21 credits. That's a lot of money for Asa. I wonder if they're on like big deal or something. This doesn't seem like a normal Asa start. Okay. The parts of this are good. We can just install the Class Act. We can also just Praxis to install the Class Act for 2 and then get back the friend of a friend. That might be fine. We haven't found an Amanuensis yet. This is like a relatively low value. Yeah, it's fine. My wife is starting to beekeeping this spring. Oh, no way. That sounds really fun. I think bees are just cool. So we can clear the tag. We don't have a huge reason to. We probably could have drawn once first. They're going to have 2 servers to jam into. The Gatekeeper's going to go. So we really just need to be drawing a bit more. Let's draw once and then decide. Okay, I'm just going to flip the tag now that we drew that. So good ordering. It's a Hollowman. Uh-oh. So they're going to... Oh, it is an agenda. Off-rolled? Install. Okay, so they're just going for the Ace install. That's not too bad. The fact that they do that with Hollowman, like they pay 5, gain 7, obviously saves them clicks, so it's a bit better than that. Cody, able to check out some Tuesday stream during lunch. Hope you're doing well. How you doing? A great run on the weekend, huh? We are trying to figure out how to play some Seb with this version of the deck. Okay, so we are very bad at running this server, surprisingly. Did anyone else lose sound? I hope not. Did you lose sound, Cody? Can you hear me? Like, we lose them 2 turns if we can't deal with this. They have so much money. I guess we just have to pinhole the Hollowman and be awkward about it. So what do I want to do here? Friend of a friend moves a tag, draws 2. That's not a bad start. It's a bit too many cards, but we kind of have to do it. Valentina, Banhar, Steelskin. Valentina is going to be good. Even if we discard her, she is a pretty okay baseline. How do they get so much money? They played 2 fully ops into 2 hedge funds and a full Nico. Kidding, I can hear you. So we definitely want Banhar. I'm assuming with Steelskin with Banhar is pretty good, but we have a Amanuensis. Oh, this might be wrong. Valentina's not super important. I'll take it. That's the only installable from our hand. Oh no, besides Banhar. So can we get a tag this turn? Not really. So we need to get Banhar down. We need to pinhole the Hollowman. We in theory could Hannah bounce the Gatekeeper. Sometimes in a pinch that's correct. It's definitely not on this board state. So we are going to pinhole that. Are we going to do anything before that? I think we just do pinhole. Yeah, whatever. Fine. And then we do Banhar, and I think I don't want to play a Strike Fund. We're fine discarding these 2. We're just fine discarding Valentina. So that puts us on 6. So I think we do play Strike Fund. It's rough to play Strike Fund when you have a Banhar. So we get rid of Badge and Amanuensis and then Val. Actually, keeping Val is fine. Yeah, keeping Val is actually pretty good. My prompt on Ice on Archives. Yeah, I think they should Ice Archives against Seb. I think that's the thing that people need to learn to do because we have so many successful triggers. Oh, it's Trank into Holloman. Okay. So unfortunately, Eye for Eye doesn't get that much value because if they have an agenda, it goes into their remote server. So we probably have to see the top of R&D this turn. They drew a card, so clearly they're looking for something. I'm assuming that's not an agenda. That could be an agenda. Now, Audrey Eye for an Eye with this hand, like that's a reason also to keep 2 strike funds, but I don't think they have agendas in hand if they're drawing. That could be an agenda. So we get a draw with Class Act Badge, and I think we just need to lock R&D, and hopefully that sees enough points soon enough. All right, that's hard to deal with. Could be a Spin Doctor, could be a Powers. So we'll do Badge, draw. We get a filter draw. We'll take this. Actually, Lagu's pretty good. So then we'll put this on either R&D and HQ. If we go HQ, we get Eye for an Eye. That deals with Seamlesses, but the deck is probably only on 1 Seamless. Deals with Biotic, deals with Audacity. I don't think it's on Audacity. Would it be first card they put down right? Because second can't be an agenda, I think. I don't think they aced that turn. Oh, they did. Okay. So the second one can be an agenda. The first one can be. Yeah. I don't think it changes too much. The question is whether we force the reses here. The problem is they can res 2 ice. It's awkward to res an ablative here. I really wanted to get a crew, but we don't have one. So we can do R&D for a single after getting Audrey down. We can go HQ and Hawk Fursuit. That's probably your best bet and just hope the Lagu survives. I think we have to. We can draw once. We have to figure out how to get Audrey down though. Like our breaker suite doesn't work unless we have so many things to install. Like we need to get Audrey down. We need to start be running. No res, okay. Spin, okay. So server 1 could be an agenda. We'll get them to Lagu. Hedge fund, okay, not great. I kind of want to deal with this. We didn't draw into crew. We could go back for another hot fursuit, but we don't fire Seb, let alone we can't fire Seb. So I think we just do Audrey run HQ. They drew into that run though. So there's agendas in hand for sure. Why didn't they put them on the table? Fuck, you can't Eye for an Eye. I think we do remove a tag Eye for an Eye C2. Yeah, that's why they make this card, right? Admittedly, you're incentivized to res here because if we don't have cards in hand, we can't fire Eye for an Eye. This is multi-axis. They res the Spin Doctor into this. Has there been a better card to ID ratio than Fully Up with Asa? Yeah, like Data Ward to Acme, I think. That's a really good one. See how they run to PE. Gatekeeper, okay. So this takes our whole hand apart. So we're gonna have no cards in hand. Ping to R+? Yeah, well, anything to R+, honestly. That says the word tag on it. So second Spin Doctor. Oh, they have points in hand. Let me see 2 cards. I'm good. Steal. So we Eye for Eye this. It gives us a badge. Trades a card in hand. I think that's fine. There must be better ones. Like, well, Outfit to Regulatory Capture. Nobody else plays anything. Plays that. For what it's worth, like Fully Op did see play in other decks. Like Fully Op and Acme made some sense. Some people play Fully Op in Atea. So Fully Op's really good in Asa, but there's cards that don't see play outside of Identities. Like nobody else plays Red Cap. All right, they're drawing. 2 Spin Doctors. We flushed a Vitruvius. What's going to be really important is the Ikwa, because if we can steal, obviously, the Ikwa, there's 1 fewer Ikwa, so it's harder for them to get to game point, because they generally want to score 3 agendas. They trashed a Banhar. Yeah, I'm worried about that. That's true. Was Fully Up in Loud PE? One as a one of, I think. There's a chance as a one of it showed up. Okay, then they installed. We got to do Class Act. Audrey or Crew. I'd rather have... We're going to need an Audrey, let's be honest. But opening up HQ seems okay. Jumon to Saraswati. In theory, Jumon with Regenesis, you can play it anywhere. But I guess so. I don't know what you need here. Audrey obviously works with their game plan. But Crew also like trashes Ice, which works with their game plan. This is our second Crew. We can bring Audrey back with a Praxis. Maybe this is not right. I don't know. Card in server 2 could be a Holloman, could be anything. We're going to put... remove a tag which draws 2 cards. Filter, Botulus Contaminate. Oh, we have a Contaminate. Uh-oh. We should have maybe kept the Audrey. So we can Crew the Ice on HQ to get a fursuit. They might have another agenda. Their turn was draw? Yeah. So we can draw. We would like to have a Praxis. Okay. So unfortunately we don't. So crew only goes so far in this deck. So I think we do crew pursuit. Hopefully trash something. I don't know. P to sting. Hey, Daria. Yeah, that's a good one too. So this doesn't take a tag. This does. Rashida, trash that, I think. We can run back for a single. We know nothing about the hand. I don't know what else we're doing on this turn. We have our card draw engines. This seems fine. Hedge fund. Oh, that was the other card we knew, actually. House of Knives has seen some amount of play in other IDs. We want to find a Manuel. Shaper to trick shot. SMC to trick shot. Uh-oh, seamless. Are you thinking I'm squared at 5-3? Oh, Vitruvius the counter. That's really, really good. So now any never advanced threatens to win because they can play the seamless. Well, they need another seamless. So we need to lock HQ in the top of the deck. So we'll remove a tag which draws 2. This engine does feel good. We found our Manuel. That's good enough. So we just do Botchless on R&D, Manuel, or Run HQ, Run R&D, I think. Is there any way to get a tag at instant speed? Yeah, there is. So we'll hop Pursuit HQ, install Manuel. Epiphany to the binder? No, come on. We'll play Epiphany one day. So Nico, we'll trash this just so we see more cards. Vitruvius, okay, that's good. So we can see the whole hand and then the top of R&D. I think we'll do that. Oh, actually, no, we need clicks for Ikoa. We probably shouldn't do this. Oh, they have agendas in hand if they use a Vitruvius counter for a gatekeeper. Wait, they have agendas in hand. Wait, we missed it. Unless this is the coolest bluff in the whole world. Give us an Ikoa. Okay, we know their whole hand. Gatekeeper hedge fund. Okay, so that was really good. I can't believe that turn worked as well as it did. We drew the Manuel perfectly. It's hard for them to trash it. So their hand is Gatekeeper. Okay. So we just want to lock R&D. The problem is we don't want to do it this turn. We'll just draw. Okay, Botchless can go. We haven't seen a Magnet yet. There's way worse binder cards than Epiphany. Epiphany will be playable eventually. Okay, so they have 2 unknowns. It's all about the last Ikoa. Now they use the Vitruvius counter, unless this is a Holoman, which they probably would have res on the off-world office. It's more likely a Managarm, maybe a Mavirus. We can always like botch us, face check R&D if it's a drafter. One of them will fire. But we're drawing 2 cards a turn. Seems okay. They can trash Manuel. They probably should. It's just like very, very expensive. So it could be the Gatekeeper. I'm okay with that. Hedge fund. They have 2 cards in hand. We'll remove a tag. This engine's fantastic. So we have Ashen, we have Praxis, we have Friend. I don't think we're playing the Ashen this game. Checking for our labor rights. We haven't found our labor rights so far, so that's not a problem. Praxis check. Praxis allows us to install a program, which we can get an Imp or an Audrey. I think those are both fine. What else can we get? Praxis is super great. It's okay. It gets back the Banhar, which is good, and installs a Friend from our hand. Like, it seems good. Yeah, it seems really good, actually. I think we'll just do it. So we can install from Seb, we can install the Friend. Resource, we can install, it's probably going to be Banhar to have some pressure. And then we're going to install either the Audrey or the Imp. I'm assuming we'll go for the Audrey, because like, having a breaker would be nice. Then we can Botchless R&D and run it. And we can still steal, what's it called? We get a tag, it's an ablative. Oh, that's really bad. Good thing we don't do this last click. But if a Rashida hits the table, we can't actually deal with it. A Holoman hitting the table is bad too. So it's a Rashida. We'll trash the top card of the stack. Sick. Lost the last Praxis. But we can see 2 cards here. It's only a Rashida. They Tranquility to draw a card. So they have another unknown card in hand. That means they're looking for something. No surprise. We have a chance here of finding the Ikoa and winning. Any 2-pointer wins too. But the deck should only have, I think, 1 more 2-pointer. We're going to float the tag. Drafter. Tattoo Bola. Okay, that's annoying. Those are really good ice into us. So we want to trash a card. I don't think we can on this board state. This is a Gatekeeper, we think. This is Rashida. We can't really face check into the res. So I think we just have to draw up. Praxis is super great. It's cool this deck is so fluid. With Aman? Sorry? It's really cool how fluid this deck is, that's for sure. Rashida, no surprise. So they're drawing into Ablative, Drafter, sorry, Tattoo Bola, Drafter, and 2 unknowns, and then the unknown that broke lock that turn off the Trank. They're clearly drawing for something. So they're trashing a Banhar. That's cards. They have extra cards. They probably should get rid of the Manuel, which is 2 cards. Seb has text. They have the money to trash your stuff too. Like, this is a lot of money. Amanuensis. Yeah, Amanuensis badge is working as much as we didn't get badge that turn. Maybe Imp was better, actually. I think if we got the Imp, we would have trashed an Ice and got our Solidarity. That might have been better than the Audrey. Luckily, we have a Contaminate, though. Unfortunately, we're out of Praxis, so we're not going to Praxis again this game, unless we Ashen, which we can almost afford to do. It's on the bottom of our deck, though. Oh, no. We need a Labor Race for Ashen. No, I'm pretty sure Server 2 isn't a Holloman. So they need to get an Ice on R&D to be safe, because we can see 2 on R&D. They know where their 5/3s are. And we have another Banhar, which is at least okay. So here we probably friend of a friend to remove a tag to draw 2 cards. Okay. So Trank, unknown upgrade, and probably not a Holloman Server 2. If it's a Holloman, we lose, but their play pattern suggests that this is not a Holloman, considering they scored out of 4-2 the hard way. Friend of a friend or Steel Skin. I take this Steel Skin. We lost the crew, which have been okay. So we can lose the Agenda Holloman and Ice R&D. Okay. So we have to make some decisions. We can Contaminate, run Server 2. That's probably good. That's why we keep the Steel Skin. We have no reason to clear the tag first, right? I think we can just do Contaminate, run Server 2, force some reses. Yeah. Contaminate Hannah Server 2. If it's a Mavirus, it's a Mavirus. Not much we can do about it. Unless we want to install the Botulus. I don't think we do. We have to remember, too, on important turns, we can use Hannah to clear a tag. I forgot Hannah was there, so we probably didn't consider it. But we can Hannah to remove a tag, gain a click. It's really good if we need to remove a tag. So now we can break. Hear me out. 6 subroutines. That's a Mavirus. Fuck. Yeah, I got it, Zog Monkey. Well, that's probably bad for us. Not the worst for us, but bad for us. This is not that bad. We lose our Audrey, we don't care. We lose a hardware or a resource, that's fine. Does Hannah trigger Amanuensis? Yep. So we're forcing credits down. Like at this point, you can't score out, which is good. I wonder what they trash. I honestly don't think this hammer's that bad for us. They paid 6 for that. It's really expensive. I really want to make a good Epiphany deck, but I generally make terrible deck building choices. Yeah, it's interesting. Super interesting. Notably, Seb's text is only about using the basic action. So if you can figure out another way to trash a resource, you don't have to pay the additional cost. But I actually don't mind it. Paying 6 for this is whatever. The Audrey is whatever. The tag is whatever. The resource or hardware, it's up to them to make it make sense. I sported most of their cards, the Hyobu. I like Epiphany, needs some love. Yeah, I think Epiphany can be really cool. We lost the Amanuensis. Nice. So this has to be not Brawn for them to feel okay about this. It's probably not a Drafter. They were jamming agendas behind it. It's probably an End the Run. Tattoo Bowl, okay. Frustrating. If we do... Nah, that's fine. They're on 5, so they can't threaten to win, I don't think. It purges the botches. That's honestly kind of the worst part of this. Why are we on 3 tags? Wait, why are we on 3? Oh, because of Hannah, right. Hey, Fleet, bang, bang, Ace of Silver Hammer came down on Manuel's head. Dude, how you doing? Yeah, it's the Hannah run. So, thinking. So we know there's a gatekeeper on HQ. We're pretty sure it's a gatekeeper. So we can force the res. That'll be their money. If we want a Hannah, we can clear a tag. That's totally fine. Friend of a friend clears a tag. That's totally fine. We can face check this, but it doesn't really matter. So our goal here is probably just to play tag me for the rest of the game. Amanuensis check. We have 1 more. There's 2 here. We have drawn, not yet with the class act. Okay. So if we want to labor rights here, we can get back in. Probably the pinhole. And 2 Praxi, I think. I think we just rip it. I don't think we're going to Ashen this game. Wow. Okay. That's good. So what do we want back? Praxis is why. Oh no, Praxis is useless because we're tagged. Cards have really frustrating text sometimes. Okay. So we want to get back in. So we're going to need Audrey Contaminates in our hand. So maybe we should just go for we have a Banhar in hand. Our last Banhar is okay to get back because they've been trashing it. What else do we want? We're going to end our turn tag, so Amanuensis does something. The issue is like Praxis doesn't work. I feel like Hammer on the botches would have been more impactful. I agree. I think so. I think the botches ablative is pretty rough. I honestly don't know what to put back in here. I'm going to go for the Ashen because there's a chance we'll just pay 5 and do it. Where is it? Oh, Ashen's in our... Where's our Ashen? Oh, we bottomed it. We didn't trash it. Right. Okay, it's not there. This might not have been labor rights. I think Pinhole's fine because we need to deal with Holloman sooner than later. Audrey, we have one in our hand, so that's okay. Our money's okay. We have too many cards, but we can install Audrey. We want to install Banhar last click, so we might actually Hannah to remove a tag. I'll do one practice, assuming we're going to remove the tags out of here. I don't think we will, though. Ooh. Crew? Crew's okay, yeah. It's expensive. Oh, yeah, maybe we'll try Crew. We drew the Pinhole. That's good. So here, then we install a card. It's probably going to be Banhar. We can remove this tag, though. It's like whatever. It gives us a click, so we don't have to discard too many cards. We'll install Banhar. So badge, Lagu don't matter. So the question is, do we want a Solidarity badge, or do we want to install something? We can friend of a friend to remove a tag. That's fine, too. We might as well. We're never going to use this to take a tag, because if you're not tagged, so it's just a money. Then we can discard 2 cards. Yo, John, happy Tuesday. Yo, great performance on the weekend. It's really fun to watch your Egg Infusion. How you doing? It's pretty easy to drop tags and go for practice. Yeah, I think it's actually easier than we thought it was because we have Hannah and the setup. Crew can kill the hammers and tattoos. I don't care about hammer, I think. The tattoo we do care about. We know that this is... yeah, right. We probably should have put another Banhar back. They've been doing that consistently. We know that this is probably either the draft or the tattoo. It's likely the tattoo. Now, we don't know if this is an agenda or not. They don't have Holloman credits. I think we can do this. Fine. We might just rip an Ashen. Good, and thanks. Maybe a couple more from the America's pod won't make it at 2 a.m. and I'll get a shot. John, unfortunately, I've heard that everyone's confirmed. I would wait for the confirmation, but someone in chat told me everyone's locked in. Apologies. The last round strength of schedule battle is like so rough, where it's like, I don't think your game mattered that much. All right, so Rashida into server 2, that would put him on 7 credits. To Hollowman out, you need 4 + 2 + 2. No, 4 + 2 + 2. Yeah. So no, that's no good. They don't have enough credits. So here, I think going R&D and seeing 2 is good. Running HQ and seeing 2, like if they res a gatekeeper, I think we're relatively happy about it. So we can do Audrey Contaminate, run HQ, run server 1. Probably Audrey Contaminate, run R&D, run server 1. I don't think we run HQ here. We could also just pinhole this for the badge, which is fine. So we could do Audrey pinhole. Yeah, I like that actually. I wonder if we should put 3 Praxis back in. We probably should have. Let's see if this forces a res. Like they might flinch if it's the Spin Doctor. It's a Nico. Okay, we'll trash that for Audrey. Okay. Hot Pursuit here would be pretty good. We have none, so that's not going to happen. So we can run HQ. If they res, we can Steel Skin. We see 2 cards, and then we can run R&D. In theory, we should run R&D first. No res. Oh, good game. I didn't think they had a Nico in hand, but if they drew it, I don't know where it goes. Good game. Got me again. Thanks for the game. What was in the remote? Their start was killer. Their start was killer, and then we like Seb tempoed back. Like we actually genuinely Seb tempoed back. But I do think it's like we sniped everything in hand before we went to the remote server. I'm not sure if he had a better way to get those cards in there, but like when he rezzed into a Spin Doctor, it protects your agendas, but it gives us so much information. Where it's like clearly there's points in there and there's no ice. Like we're gonna run HQ 3 times and we ended up stealing 4 points. I think if they didn't res the Spin Doctor and we stole 1 agenda, we might not have gone back. So it's important to keep in mind like your plays give your opponents a lot of information. ADT and Managarm, HQ was, okay, that was a tattoo. Ooh, it was Gatekeeper, and the ice was another hammer. I thought the hammer was a Gatekeeper on HQ. So that's why he didn't res, because he couldn't. Did work on flushing at HQ? Yeah, the Eye for an Eye was good too, as much as it was just multi-axis. So it was an ADT in here. We're playing around the Equa though. If he scores on the ADT, it's like fine. Yeah, especially also the Vitruvius counter was used to protect HQ. And if he kept the Vitruvius counter, we're much more scared of every never advance. Or like pulling back, like using the Vitruvius counter to protect HQ versus using the Vitruvius counter to get back a fully op is a very different game. I don't mind the hammer too much. I don't think. It's really expensive. Yeah, I honestly, I think Hammer is really good, but in this matchup, Hammer can't be that bad for us. Like, it gives us a tag. We're usually okay with that. We have so many options, but like 6 just for this face check, I don't know if it's great. Like, do you know what would be as impactful if not more, is like a Hagen. A Hagen trashes Audrey, and it ends the run. Those would be much better for 2/3 of the price. Hey, you too. Cheers. That was a fun game, though. How are we doing on time? It's 3:40. I think we can do one more, maybe. Hammer Seb question: does the tag sub trigger happen before the corp chooses a hardware resource to trash? Yes. The subroutines happen once at a time. So the tag happens. Seb is functionally an interrupt, right? And then they can trash the resource you installed. So yeah, the subs go in order. So the same idea as like steel skins get hit on net damage subroutines in a row. I don't know if we have enough time to build another sub list. We've been streaming for 3.5 hours. Yeah, let's do another game at least. I got a lesson tonight, so I gotta finish this, eat dinner, do the publishing, and then get to the lesson. Asa only building 2 servers seems relevant to econ problems. Their econ was really good. It died after a bit. Needs more street magic. It does. Oh, Thule. This might be the deck list of the week. I hope it's not. That deck doesn't look fun to play against. Hey, it's Shane. Hey. Best of luck. Have fun. So I'm assuming it's the deck list of the week, which is like toxic. It's a misery engine. So like, I don't know if this is how I want to spend my time, but it's a cold site server, D-res deck. The best thing we can do is face check, click into Biroids, just have money and trash things. This is another really good reason to have Hannah and Miss Bones, so we're going to try and like get around Hannah and Miss Bones. Now our hand has Lagu and Class Act. It doesn't have a way to have tags. It has steel skins for face checking. It's very likely we do Lagu click for 3 tag credits this turn. I think we can keep this. They might have the ice to ice up HQ, but if this is the deck of the week, they don't have a lot of ice that ends the run, so we can like force Praxis, or not Praxis, Hot Pursuit. But I'm assuming this is just assets. Ooh, did they mull? They kept and start with Spin Doctor Hedge. Wait, is this list then? No, this is not this list. Okay. Respect. All right, I don't know what we have to do. Core damage, not very good. This just could be like Thule assets. I don't know if that deck plays Hedge Fund. So our options are play Classic, do nothing, or play Lago, do nothing. I'd rather Classic, do nothing. So what do we want here? 2 Audreys. I think that solves it. There's some reasons there's actually, in some matchups, it's actually good to have 2 Audreys, but mostly Freedom. If you're playing Freedom against Asset Spam, 2 Audreys is actually really quite good. Okay, so we can contest. It is expensive and we don't have money to do with Thule. So if we do something like Audrey Contaminate, that's all our money. So we want to set the Banhar and then do the Hot Pursuit. So I don't know what we actually end up doing this turn. We probably just do something like this and then click for 2. All these cards are very valuable. If they score Rashida, that's fine. Face checking is okay. We could have done it sooner than later. They might be on like core damage ice, but we don't want to touch a card if we don't have 2 credits and a click. So I honestly don't know what we do with this hand. I think Buffer Drive is probably the worst card in our hand. Either that or Steel Skin, but Steel Skin Audrey is really, really good. I think we need these. I think it's going to be the Buffer Drive. The problem is like, we're going to take damage in this matchup, so Buffer Drive is really good. But we're hoping that Labor Rights Ashen gets there. That might be wrong. Rashida. I don't know how we can afford to install this. Buffer Drive is really, really good though, because it allows you to fire Steel Skins with Audrey on their turn and then get them back. Like Buffer Drive is actually kind of sick. YDL, uh-oh. Like it makes this a free hit. So we have Hot Pursuit. I'm going to take the Friend of a Friend because it is Friend of a Friend. So we're going to put this on HQ. I think we're just going to Pursuit, install Friend, then Audrey Contaminate. Hopefully we keep those. We could technically take like 3 damage here, 4 damage. There's some pretty big Thule ice. No further. Okay. Keep your secrets. Hedge fund. They have a lot of money. I'm worried this is punitive. So Friend of a Friend can clear the tag. Against Thule, you can't float the tag because of both greasing that they'll play and because of hypoxia. At least that removes the tag, but sometimes that's actually what you don't want them to do. I honestly can't read what this deck is. Draw. So this is our play deck's turn, so I think we'll just draw, remove a tag. Oh, that throws out a card. That's a mistake. Whatever, we'll float a tag. Let's see what happens. If we get hypoxia, we lose the game, I think. Jupstad? Oh, shit. So they're going to big deal? No, they can't. what are they scoring out here? I think it's the D-Res Spin Doctor card. So we're going to take 1 core damage. Yeah, I'll let it go. Ah, we lost the Hannah. It's bad. Great. Cool. So now we have to put pressure on. So we need to deal with the jupe stat. That shouldn't be that hard. So we're going to put this on, I think, server 2. So we can do Audrey, just run it. We can do Audrey Solidarity Badge, just run it. We won't have enough money. So we probably have to do Friend of a Friend first. We have 4 hand size. We have to trash this thing. Ooh. Eye for an Eye can be really good. Strike Fund we want to keep in hand. Imp is also really good too. Okay, so I'm assuming that we just do Audrey run this. Audrey Badge run this. The badge is not necessary. So if this gives us a tag, we can clear the tag. We don't care about tags though. No, it's not the imp. I don't care if we spend 4 credits on this, I don't think. Let's run this and see. We're going to probably lose cards here. This is, it's a pulse. Okay. So running it, this click was bad. The runner loses a click for each res harmonic ice and the run unless the runner spends a click. So this is going to be 2 damage. Don't hit the steel skins. Piss. That's fine. We lost the imp. That's okay. So we'll trash this. It fires the badge that we could put down first. We have to discard 2 cards here. Oh, we lost all our clicks. Yeah, we should run that last click. Bummer. So Contaminate's worth keeping, Badge is worth keeping, Steel Skin's worth keeping, Strike Fund's worth keeping, Lagu is not worth keeping. So would we rather have a Strike Fund or Steel Skin? I think we'd rather have the Steel Skin allows us to draw. Audrey to discard the Strike Fund for cash. Yeah, I think you're probably right that we definitely just pitch it. Sorry. I'm going to pitch. How you doing, Alex? Congratulations on the weekend. The Strike Fund to Audrey. Yeah, I have to do that before I end the turn. So this I'm going to throw out to Audrey to gain 2. And then that makes it really easy. So we'll just gain 2. Yeah, we just can't do it there. But we can always pitch this before end of turn. Yeah, the buffer drive might have been something. So you can always just trash this from grip with Audrey. That's why this card works. Not like Propeller. It's all you. So the Spin Doctor is annoying. At this point, they want to give us another core damage, so they have Fast Advance. Pullback Badge? Oh yeah, sorry, wrong discard. Sorry, oops, sorry. Oh my god, thank you. Yeah, we were meant to throw this out. So they YDL'd. They're on 14. They're on big deal if they're on this big money. You don't play YDL unless you're on big deal. Ice on HQ, okay. 13, trash the top, sure. Contaminated Botulus. I think we'll just Botulus this. We can just run last click. Oh, we don't want to. Hoping I can shift my sleep this weekend entirely for CBI. Originally, I thought no chance I'd make the cut. Oh, get out. Get out. No chance. We don't want to run Archives because of Nightmare Archives. We want to deal with Spin Doctor. So we'll put down Badge, Spin Doctor, Botulus will run this. The Imp is actually valuable because we could have used Imp to trash agendas. It probably was worth protecting. Okay. So they can't let us trash this. And then we run this with a click and 2 credits left. So we're going to run to the Pulse and just break it with Steel Skin. Puts us on a lot of cards. No chance to make the cut. Goes undefeated, I know. I think we'll trash that. So Praxis Hot Pursued Badge. We don't need Badge. So we can spay. It's a jupe stat. We have to trash that legally. Otherwise, it's going to be another core damage. Audrey and Badge power up. Okay. So we have 5 cards in hand. We can practice last click to float a tag. If they're not on Hypoxia, it's actually okay. Because we can install nothing from hand. No, it's actually not that good. We can install a Botulus. Also not that good. I think the worst card in our hand is Contaminate. Just because we have Banhar. Yeah, the Imp is really good. We want to wait for Threat and we want to practice back the Imp. Now they're on big deal money, so we have to pressure HQ. They know we're going to run this every turn, so they're just going to put something in this every turn. Banhar, R&D. badge, draw a card. Yeah, okay. Crew, okay. So we can install crew. We can use crew to destroy the pulse. It costs us 4 credits. So that's hard. If we praxis archives, we can install the crew for free and install a friend of a friend. We can clear the friend of a friend tag. Then we could run server 2 and then install the Valentina. That's probably something. Just feels like fun Seb stuff. It might not be right. So we'll do friend. Hannah's really good technically into this matchup. So then remove the friend tag. Then we'll run this. So here, we can let the subroutines fire. Saint Shaheen's just going to put garbage in here. It's actually probably a Nightmare Archives. I don't know if we should be running this. I don't think we do run this. Like we've seen 2 jupe stats so far, 1 Rashida. I don't think we run this. What else are we doing though? Like I'm struggling to figure out how to, maybe we should contaminate just so that we have counters before we get the first counter. Do we float a tag? Let's just do it. But I'm pretty sure this is the Nightmare Archives. There's no way they don't think we run this every turn. Oh, Rashida, okay, we're the best. So I think we just click to draw here. Nice. Imagine running a bigger deck just to have worse identity decks. Yeah, whatever, Tron. I think this is your deck, just in Thule. So they're trashing a Benhar, which means they can throw a Nightmare Archives out. Trashing a Lagu, great. So Solidarity Badge, at the beginning of turn, we draw 2 cards and gain a credit. Take that, Hoshiko. A surprise kill if they go on low hand size with Holloman. I don't think they're on kill. I think they're just on fast events. I think they're on big deal. So we'll remove a tag, which draws 2 cards and gives us a credit. So we practice Strike Fund Lagu. I like the Lagu. I don't think we need the Strike Fund. That's so good. So we could consider running HQ here with the Pursuit. We'll be on 3 credits. We'll have Audrey. I think that's actually relatively good. And then with the Pursuit, we can install the Lagu. I'm going to go for it. It's a bit ambitious. I don't know what we can't deal with. Pulse is a start. We're going to lose a bit. So we're going to break this, or we're going to lose a credit and a click. I think a credit and a click is fine. I don't think we have to break this. Otherwise, it's a card and an Audrey counter. That's fine. They can now raise a bloop, but that's fine. Maybe I should try. It's a bloop. That's okay. Okay, so we'll do the bloop. So this we don't want to let fire. So it's 2 hosted virus counters and we'll break all of it. We could let them trash a program. We probably shouldn't. So we'll get rid of the steel skin first. Oh, we should do this in order. Shit. I should have done this. Sorry. I just have to go back. Southern Bloop. Hey, Cobalt, the trick I didn't see installing Manuel in touch with Hopper C to get the multi-axis. Yes. I think we will, depending on how many clicks we have left. Because I actually don't know if we want a multi-axis if they're on like multiple agendas. So I think here we'll just go for the Lagu. Multi-accessing is kind of tricky if they have 2 agendas. Because I don't want to take another core damage. Maybe we should. I feel like a single axis here is relatively good. So we'll do, we have to do this. So match strength, we want to do this one. Oh, wait, you can't? I messed it up again. Oh, that's so annoying. That is really annoying. Yeah, whatever. There's a chance that the card that we hit with this, we should have thrown out. Yeah, we should have done the bottom option. I thought I figured it out. I didn't. It's okay. Whatever. So we can either install Manuel in C2. We can install the Friendo and clear the tag, which is not a huge concern. I think we do Manuel C2. If we steal an agenda, we take a core damage. I don't want to take that risk because I think we're in an okay spot. I'll just do the Lagu. And Geofront would lappily trash that. Audrey and Badge gets charged. So we have a click left. I think we just take a credit. Sing 2 is dangerous. It's a bit dangerous. NGO is scary. Rare to see 2 agendas here. I don't know. We've been like forcing the remote server for a while. And it's actually kind of likely that they have 2 agendas in hand. Because they've been cornered. Hedge fund. Okay. So we can run HQ here, I think. So we'll remove a tag, gain a credit, draw 2 cards. So good. We got our Banhar. We don't need the Ashen. We still don't know where our Labor Rights is. So that's fine. We lost our buffer drive by choice. So here we can run HQ. We can eat the pulse. Bloop, though, is actually difficult. We should have botch listed Bloop, I think. Yeah, we probably should botch listed Bloop. It's really hard to crew this. There's a nightmare in Hyperloop in Archives. I believe it. The thing is, like, Praxis don't care. But we actually are very not good at dealing with Bloop unless we botch list it. So we either have to Praxis on Threat, which is our second Praxis so far. Or no, last Praxis. Uh-oh. So I think we just do nothing here. I think we do Crew, Banhar. We've already drawn. Yeah, I think we do nothing. This kind of sub deck, Amanuensis, reminds me of an old tag me. Hope you're playing a tag punish. Blue face smiling. Yeah, we ran into one tag punishment. It was really bad. I don't think we played the game well, but. Laborites or Audrey? I'd rather bottom the Laborites. We could tempo the Laborites. Maybe we should have gone slower on setup and actually got the buffer drive down. Okay, so this looks like an obvious trap. It could be double Hendrik, which will be expensive for them. I'd rather go HQ here if we have the choice. So if we run this, we can throw out the I and I for Audrey. Yeah, I'll run it. We're going to trash something. I think I'm okay with that. Running earlier on clicks is a bit cursed. Oh, it's a wave. Okay, so they get another bloop. It's an echo. Okay. Echo's really bad into crew. So I'm not too worried about that. So it's either our Audrey counters or a click. Oh no, they just get a credit. 2 credits. That's fine. Oh, never mind. Never mind. That's not a good hit. So let's see what this is. So it's a Hendrik, no surprise. So we'll lose our remaining clicks. So if the other one's an agenda, we'll take it. We'll trash that for sure. And then this is another Hendrik. Okay, no surprise. So now they can score out fast advance from hand. We'll trash that as well. They did end up paying only 4 for that, and that's going to end our turn. Cool. I'm struggling now because I don't feel like I can put enough pressure on centrals because of the bloop. I feel like we're seeing so many decks like this in the meta where they put mean ice on centrals and then grind or damage grind. I don't know. I mean, you called it right. Yeah, I know, but we have to deal with that server. Like, we can't not deal with that server. Losing the Manuela and the, like, we lost the 2 best cards, I think, in our hand because right now pressuring R&D is away. I think we'll just badge to draw. Mean on centrals and FA. Yeah, I know. It's like, at least they have a remote server. So I don't want to give them 2 credits. I think if they score out anything, like worst case is a jupe stout into something, but if it's jupe stout into something, they can't score out the agenda. It's too expensive. So I think we'll draw. Contaminate or eye for an eye. We don't need that. So we can go HQ here. We're assuming this is an echo. So we can eye for an eye this hand, feed strike fund. I think that's actually okay to sweep the hand. Running archives is really difficult into Thule because they're definitely on the Nightmare archives. Test for echo. I don't think we have a real reason to. If they res the echo, they res the echo. So we can run HQ and see 2 cards, or we can run RD for singles. The cards we're going to see in hand are Big Deal. I don't know if they're on Midnight 3 because they're on Yodel. I don't know. Spin Doctor probably shows up by now. This might be a Spin Doctor. I think we'll just run R&D for single. All right. We've done our filtered draw. We're definitely going to Ash in this matchup. We only have 8 cards left in the stack. So they're on 1 point. Like, the game is messed up. I think we just run R&D for single here. I don't want to trash an echo before a Spin Doctor goes, I don't think. We'll see. Wow. Oh my god, wow. Okay. They really don't want us getting in there. Okay, hold on. Trash 1 card. I figured it out. Gain 2. Trash a card. I guess we could die to snare here? No. Misery Engine? Yeah, kind of. That's good. We'll pay for it. So now we can run HQ. The most they can res is a pulse. If they res the pulse, they run out of money. So this has to be a Rashida, but we know this is pulse into bloop, so we can run HQ. If they res the pulse, we can access and take a core damage. I think that's fine. I'd rather them have the res the pulse here. Okay, so we're going to access. Pulse is 3 credit res. Oh, huge. Thank you. Wave is 2. Okay, so this is free. We could have eye for an eye here, actually. It might have been right. Oh, that's really good. Why didn't they score that? They must have drawn that halfway. Yeah, I'm assuming they res that blue for R&D is pretty dense. Okay. I'll take the Pinel so we can deal with the Jupe stud. Okay, so running HQ is totally fine. Oh, that bloop was just net damage as well. So we can pinhole one of these. I'm assuming it's an agenda on top of a Hendrik. The agenda has to be the new card, but I don't think we care what they push out unless they have a Seamless in hand. So we can run HQ here. We can eye for an eye and see 2 cards. If we find an Ikua, that's okay. The thing that gets me about Thule is that its ultimate passive gameplay idea doesn't enable anything except slowing the runner. That informs a lot of deck design. I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's why PD is so sick. It incentivizes you to score out agendas, which I think makes the game fun. HQ Bloop is live? Yes. Yeah, if they de-res the wave, the HQ Bloop is live. That is true. We might have wanted to ban Har HQ. Oh, GG. Apparently if we waited long enough, maybe we were playing too slow. Were we playing too slow? We might have been. Maybe they're just on 1 point on 4 cards. They didn't want to do that anymore. I feel like, yeah, I get that. We had the Ashen coming up. We would have just sent it. Feels bad. Okay. Maybe we were playing too slow. I don't know. That was a 20-minute game so far. We've gone through how many turns? 11 turns? No, that's not unreasonable. Maybe I should feel bad. I'm not sure. All right. Surprised the concede before you played Ashen? Yeah, but they didn't know we were in Ashen. Maybe they know the decks are playing. But after the Ashen, yeah, they might have conceded for sure. They didn't have a lot of economy. They had a lot of work to do. They could have got to like 5 points by scoring 2 Ontos, but they were out of big deal money for sure. Probably not a time concession. Probably know to talk to Chad, do stream stuff, so it'd take a little longer. Yeah, they should know that it's a bit of a slower game, unfortunately, because we're on stream. We labeled the room. Yeah. Dan, we can't do that on stream. We can't do a witch hunt like that. I appreciate the message though, or the info. Just be careful. Cool. No way you got big deal money out of Thule. I'm assuming they were. Like they were on 3 YDL. I didn't see any tattoo bolas. Yeah. Cool. Huge thank you to all these names here and more. We are supported on Patreon, which gives us time to do streams like this. Mind you, we stream this whole weekend. We'll find all the links below. So thank you to all these names. And of course, our daily cast patrons that help support the Metropole Grid. Apologies again, it's been a bit quiet on the channel. It's going to be a weird couple months before the new set. That is true. Again, coming out at the end of April. We're going to have some tabletop gameplay live on this channel relatively soon. And then also some recorded tabletop gameplay stuff, which I'm really excited about. This whole setup has been, it's a fair bit of money investment. And again, that only happens because of names like all the names here and more. A shout out to just coming up here, two more to Joel Sussenberger, who just joined as a Sure Gamble patron on the channel just recently. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. Are diamond borders new? Yeah, diamond borders are relatively new. The system is not like bulletproof. It's basically for how long the channel has been supported on Patreon through the name. So diamond is like the highest it is at this point, which I think it's now like 2 years, which is incredible. So thank you so much to all these names. You want to take a second to like the video? That definitely helps the stream. It helps on Patreon. If you want to help support the channel in any way possible, you can find a link down below. You didn't mess up my last name? Yo, Jello Shots, nailed it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Hey, let's go. That's mostly it. We'll be back on Thursday. Tomorrow, if you want to watch some more streaming, again, we shouted that earlier. John is going to be doing some stream on a new YouTube channel. I've closed the link, but it's called Back Channel. No, Back. Ooh, what is it called? I'm subscribed. Hold on. Dead Channel, Backroom, something like that. Backroom Deals. I'll link this below, but there's going to be some Netrunner in person in another stream in Montreal, which is great. Backroom Deals. Thank you, Antoine. This will be tomorrow at 7 Eastern. That is the time zone we're in here. So that's mostly it. We'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully we'll have some live Netrunner on channel soon. But otherwise, take care, y'all. Enjoy the weekend. There's a CBI coming up. You probably watch it. It doesn't make sense for the time zone for me, but I'll watch the VOD at a minimum. Bye.